Hey everybody, it's your buddy Admiral Teague. How you doing? I'm here with my pal Resoluture. And what's up, buddy?
Doing okay. How you doing?
I've established a new tradition. It is officially 8 p.m. intergalactic time since it's the show starting, so I can't actually be late, right?
Sure.
We're
Let's go with that.
reestablishing the timelines. All right, so I was on this afternoon with other people, and when I got a chance to go watch Yellowstone, gosh darn it, before I even put that episode on, I ended up falling asleep before I could see Dutton Ranch. So why don't you go ahead and spoil what episode 8 now? We're getting towards the end of season 1.
Oh yeah, Beulah is medevac to begin the episode.
So she had like what they did a good job of making look like a stroke to people who don't know anything about medicine. We don't know what happened to fictional character Beulah, but she did everything that people on TV do when they have a stroke, right? She like grab her neck, right, and kind of like
Yeah,
went like bolt straight and then like fell over, right? So, more or less.
more or less, yeah. They medevac her to the hospital. Bunch of drama between Rob, Will, and Joaquin. At some point, Joaquin goes to the sheriff and says, and flat out tells him that Rob Will killed Wes, and this is the gun he did it with. Doesn't help.
Doesn't help because the sheriff's a shithead because we don't know what to make of the sheriff.
Not yet. Most pertinent fact that we got was at the very end, Joaquin has called his father, who is running apparently the Tin Petals Mexico. They are smuggling in Mexican cattle and forging paperwork.
All right, so this is stuff we didn't really know about until we started watching the show, but we always have to say, this is not the real world. It's Taylor Sheridan's version of being a cattle rancher. Most people in the real world don't run around, quote, broke, as they say, with like an $80,000 vehicle, peeling off $10,000 at a time whenever a problem comes up. That to us seems like you don't have a problem yet financially, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. And also, like we found out last week, Rob Will is, whoa. To call Rob Will a bastard would be a disservice to people who are bastardly. But Rob Will actually like fits the literal term bastard. His dad was some loser, sleazy cowboy who just does some crazy stuff to young Beulah, who was played by Rebecca Robles in a flashback. Do we continue with things from 1981, or we know everything we need to know now?
We're done
For
with
the
that.
moment. The moment, right?
I think young Beulah put a explanation point on 1981 with believe a little bit bigger than a 9mm.
It looked like she had a snub nose, but like if for anyone who doesn't know, like young Beulah, she's a little more than a pain in the ass to the guy who has to watch her. And like the comparison is George W. Bush's daughters, how they kept like running off and getting in trouble and getting Secret Service guys in trouble because they were like disappearing or whatever. So she's like being mischievous with some like, handsome cowboy. But it turns out that he's like a bitch slapping crazy madman who needs to be like, probably could use some therapy, right, Jerm? Maybe might have had some problems growing up.
Yeah, he got therapy, all right. Full Metal Jacket therapy.
He got like an ounce and a half of lead to the brain. Yeah, Beulah just took him right out. Mariano, who is Joaquin's father, he had no idea. He didn't see this coming. It was his job to watch Miss Beulah, And like everybody pulled a few things on Mariano to have him be too confused to stop what happened to Miss Beulah. So Miss Beulah gets herself in trouble because she's too smart to listen to anybody. And we kind of get the whole episode in the middle. And at the end, we go back to 1981 and we see how Beulah handles people mistreating her, which is she'll just lie to whoever she needs to get a ride there and blow the person away and worry about how it impacts them later.
Pretty much, yeah.
She doesn't give a shit. I guess she's crazy.
Well, that's a given, but
it's like
she wasn't going to tell her father what happened.
Telling her father what would have happened would have just gotten the guy slowly lowered into like a bottle shredder and her yelled at. So like basically it was better for everyone, her taking care of it herself. But I mean the father sounds like a piece of work. And that attack in 1981 results in just everybody's favorite character because he's so classy. And when we see him on screen, he's dripping with the kind of Taylor Sheridan villain class that we're so used to. He's a meth head. He's a maniac. He's getting high in his own supply and killing his dealer and throwing him into like, I don't know how he got from the Jackson from 10 Pedals to the Edwards Ranch, which is now owned by the Duttons. They don't explain it. I think maybe an episode might have gotten cut out where they had some characters or some stories going on that they thought they were going to do. Because as we know, Dutton Ranch was late and fast.
It's implied that he dumped it on being high. He dumped it on what he thought was still vacant ground.
The show isn't too sure about it. What they said was Rip says it flooded over from 10 Pedals. And then when they showed the replay, they made sure to use that same term. And what's weird is this guy, David Ayer, or whatever his name is, like Wes Ayers is like the show just opens with Wes Ayers having a confrontation with a couple of people from 10 Pedals, including Rob Will. And Rob Will is like rubbing his nose and he's all messed up and he's been messing around with the magic powder too much. And Ayers is trying to like exert some kind of like, is it, what would you say, maybe de-escalate it and plus kind of show he has the upper hand at the same time, which is not a good idea. And Rob Will at that point, I guess Rob Will is number one foreman.
Yeah, at the beginning, Rob Will is the foreman.
And he was supposed to be the guy who would eventually inherit the ranch, but he's off the rails. I guess the impression we're getting is Rob Will is regressing as the show starts.
Oh yeah, he's definitely regressing. Apparently he's been in and out of rehab most of his life. And hey, we got a gift.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Mr. House Party. Thank you. 5 Admiral Teague memberships. What a wonderful gift. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Let's see who got these memberships so we can shout them out. Mr. House Party 6, a great member of our community. There will be the member meetup, I guess, tomorrow or the next day. Got to do it in the next 24 to 48 hours. I think what happened was, were there 2 at the beginning of June? Do we have another train wreck like that?
I think so.
Rod Thunderheart. Hey, Rod, what's up? Welcome to the family. Zax is now a member of the family again. Mary Stone 44 DMC. Yo, run DMC, the KINGs of all MICs. Bubba Doom and Mr. Andropson. Welcome, guys. Thank you to Mr. House Party 6. You are now all members of the Admiral Teague family. And you know what? Out there, I see we got the Trek reviewer. Hello, Mr. House Party 6. Hello, Lombardi 1969. Hello, buddy. Hello, Miskatonic, my friend. And hello, Jonathan Hancock. We're off to a slow start today. It seems like people are still not really used to the fact that we're going to start doing Tuesdays more regularly. That was just like a couple of months there where things were not really able to be sort of, how do I put it? Let's just say the schedule was messed up for a month, and there was just a lot going on. Tuesdays, you can now count on us to be back. And you know what? I guess I put this on X. Nobody loves when I talk about it, but boy, hey, did you hear some people got unmonetized or unremonetized or monetized?
Yeah, I heard that.
I would just say let's remember what they said about people who don't get remonetized, don't get demonetized when they lost theirs. And those things will still be true. I mean, congratulations, you got it back. Uh, there was no scenario where what they did seemed to work. I would suspect it's probationary. What do you think, Germ?
Well, it's all probationary when you're dealing with YouTube.
That's the truth. We have a day by day. The truth of the matter is, Germ and I on this channel and everyone else who gets a monetized YouTube channel, what are we? We have a day laborer contract to stand behind the cybernetic version, the cyber version of the Home Depot. We speak YouTube, and the guys come up and they talk to us in YouTube, and they go, "Hey, Yahtzee, you want to come work for us for the day?" You know, and like, I don't know if it's up to us to really lay down terms. I'm sure we would like to have more, but you know, like most days they've been like, you can jump in the truck and help me put up some asbestos insulation, you know, and I shut up and I jump in the truck and I get like, you know, dance and do your Star Trek thing. And that's what I do. And, you know, also, you know, follow this set of rules. You wouldn't think you would get. First of all, I never heard of anyone getting warned on that one. Have you? It's
I
always
have never heard of
bang and
YouTube.
you're done.
Yeah, YouTube really doesn't like giving out warnings.
No one ever gets warned on that one. So the warning, it would seem like they're you know, best guess now was just never getting a green AdSense badge due to length, runtime.
Yeah, that's a good bet.
I'd also say anybody who thought AI modding were the ones that smacked that down. There's no way anything but AI modding allowed that to happen. No human being would have seen, what was it, like 1,100 streams dumped the night before. That doesn't look like you really wanted to change anything. But at least we in the niche now are somewhat safer than when we were when people were calling out, "Hey, what's going on?" So, but Zach, it's good to see you. Zach's great YouTuber, entertaining show. You know what? Check him out. Check out his channel. But I think things a little safer and a little more low key than they were when people were calling out the platform every day, telling it to go F itself and telling YouTube exactly how things were going to work out. And I don't know about, I guess, would that make me or you, which one of us is the second most surprised person this worked out? Remember us, everybody, we were urging caution, saying don't go crazy against the platform, just do what they said.
Yeah, do what the evil overlords tell you and you won't get hurt.
That, and also when they give you a warning, maybe you like change things right away rather than defying it. But that seems to be over for them. Good for them. They'll be around for what I don't know what to make about this weekend. You tell me. We have a 4th of July that's unlike any 4th of July that we have in anything but increments of even 50 years. The 225, no one cared. No, what year was it? 2011, 2001, right? I guess was the 225th.
Yeah, that was the 225th.
No one cared. Although I would point out, actually, what happened that year was in September. We had overrode all patriotic days. Good to see everybody. So I don't think we were going to do anything for it. It didn't seem like it was going to be.
No, they didn't do anything for it, but then again, George W. wasn't much of a party thrower.
He
was a
needed
more
that
sit
kind of.
his own front porch and party by himself type.
He could have used that kind of a tub thumping patriotic good time to shore up his early presidency, especially where he was like, there's some debate now over to whether or not it still stands, but most modern lows for presidents were like for the first 3 months, like the roughest ever first 3 months in office was Bill Clinton. People just couldn't believe he won and didn't really like him. And then they got used to him and his like approval rose. But the worst 3 months, the worst numbers of any president of our lifetime are always George W. Bush. Just the lowest, lowest moment of election, lowest 100 days in, lowest 1,000 days in, lowest 2 years in, lowest guy to ever win. What's that?
Not entirely his fault with the whole hanging Chad thing, and then
he probably shouldn't have been president if they had like on that one. That one really, who knows? Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. We know that he was a terrible president, and the other guy was just as bad. So it's a wash. No one has to feel like we're taking it out in the woodshed about the 2020 breaking news on the 2020 on the 2000 election. It looks like Gore did not end up being declared the winner. But with that whole Brooks Brothers riot and that other stuff, that's when the election started getting fully nonsensical. And I would say that was also their last moment where they could have jumped in there and said, we realize there's some things going on here that aren't too kosher. We're going to try to fix this system so people believe in the outcome. And no, neither party moved on it for like 3 or 4 elections, which continued. Like, I guess what we could say is people were not paying attention to the erosion in belief of the election. What's your thought on that one?
Well, and the end result of the 2000 election was technically correct. It began the steady downfall of politics that we got today, where
we spent a lot
we have donkeys in a straitjacket and elephants sitting in probably a coma.
Elephants walking down a donkey's path and donkeys in a complete coma, which, you know what, whatever you do, don't wake them up. Hey, Jonathan, it's good to see you. John the Beagle Dad, hello. Welcome to the show, guys. We're just talking about what's going on with Yellowstone. Little side tangent while Admiral like just squares his brain away here. All right, so now that I'm awake, I'm going to guess that this is going to be another episode of Dutton Ranch that I'm going to deem, for lack of a better term, procedural. We throw down a lot of stuff sometimes, and then Taylor Sheridan realizes that you can stop introducing new characters, events, and weird, crazy shit and let the story breathe. And that was the story of, I guess, is it episode 3 where Zachariah gets held at gunpoint? Like, we don't throw a bunch. So. We don't throw a bunch of new people at you. And we get to know the people that we've been introduced to. Like, we find out why Azul is attached to the Edwards Ranch and what his feelings are towards it. Because his father was the foreman. We find out why Zachariah gets picked up outside of jail, right? He walks out of effing jail. Did he have a saddle already?
Not quite, but he had one waiting for him at the ranch.
I love it. Like, Rip Wheeler is the best HR guy in the world. He just drives by the jail. He sees a guy in a cowboy hat who looks kind of beat up and lonesome. Hey, you know how to cowboy? I am a cowboy. Get in the truck. Right in the bed, you damn convict. Right? It's crazy. Rip is one of the strongest power words of the show from the word Dune. Now that we have some software that evaluates the tags that we use to make them the most powerful, appropriate tags that you can get, I didn't realize Rip Wheeler is like, he's like up there. They rate the tags out of 100. Where do you think Rip Wheeler is as a tag?
He has to be top 10, at least as far as Dutton Ranch goes.
Well, yeah, he's one of the top Dutton Ranch tags, but I would say, what do you think his power out of 100 is? Like something like, say, Harrison Ford's like an 81.
70-ish, 70s.
Rip Wheeler's like a 65, which is almost impossible to do. It's like that's kind of unnaturally high. No one gets much higher.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
William Shatner might be a 100. So at any rate, Rip Wheeler is like he's a pretty powerful one. Beth Dutton is a powerful keyword, and so that surprised me. But it is their show. We cleared out all the problems that we have. I can relate to him too. I don't know how I can be in such a good mood. I still think the standout scene of this season was him. For whatever strange reason, he's just like whistling and in a good old mood, making himself a cup of coffee after he threw that body down the well. And it took him a good 3 episodes, but he finally told his wife about it. And much like you said, she acts like it was like, you bought a new leaf blower.
Hey, it's not the first body they dumped together.
Well, they didn't dump this one together, right? And you nailed it when she asked him why he didn't tell her. It's just like he didn't need to know. Seemed like it's for the sake of peace. What are you gonna do about it, honey? Like, what are we gonna talk about it all night? It's over with, right? Like, for now, till we figure more out. But he knows where it came from, and the thing is, with the body in the well, we see Rob Will take the guy out. The next time we see the body that we know is in the well, that's Wes Air, we just see a hand that's like in like, I guess they literally mean it. Like we just don't see it in the show. I don't know why continuity chose not to leave it in there. There's some time that passes between what happens at the beginning. Then we see them buy the ranch. Then we see them take residency on the ranch. But the dude's still pretty fresh, at least from going from his hand. He's dead for about a day, 2 days tops. Critters ain't gotten to him or nothing. And the implication is between the time that he got gatted down and the time that Rip finds him, there's some sort of Texas flood that just washes him over from 10 Petals to their ranch. Pretty much.
Except for the whole flood part. There is no indication of a flood. Rob Will tried to bury. Rob Will put him in a shallow grave.
So you're saying he was drifting around, getting used to like grazing the cattle on someone else's range. He didn't give a shit or respect the Edwards, just like the Edwards said he didn't. So when he was over there, he blows this guy away. He doesn't know or care where he is because he's that kind of a foreman. And he just kind of buries him where he falls and does a shit job of it too.
He moved him to where his drugged up brain thought there would be no one to actually find him because he knew the Edwards were in a state and they weren't really policing their land too well.
Yeah,
he figured dogs would get him before anything else.
Edwards Ranch seems to have been like not so much in decline, but running at a much smaller level because the Edwards are winding down, getting ready to sell. And who knows how long that's been going on? Because when Beth goes over the problems in the area, they've been up against it environmentally since 2010. We're in year 15 of not such great weather.
Yeah, and the husband for the Edwards had just died maybe a couple of months prior, and that's why she was selling.
All right, so this guy's already like taking advantage of Edwards being dead. I guess they're figuring they're going to get to buy the Edwards Ranch. One of the things they don't realize is the Edwards people hate them, or they don't care enough to know. And they also, I guess, if you're Rob Will, one thing you are aware of is you are in a decent position to buy the Edwards Ranch just for 10 Petals. You've got the money, and the Edwards would do all right selling it to you. It's just that they can't stand the 10 Petals people.
Right.
To which I say, more power to him. I don't know who at 10 pedals I'd like the least, although the one sympathetic person, what we found out is Beulah is like almost schizophrenic. It seems like there's now something definitely, it's been introduced that whatever happened to Beulah Young, like that kind of traumatic experience, not exactly what happened, but that kind of traumatic experience, that wasn't a one-off. Young Beulah was causing problems for people all the time. That seems to be the impression I got. What do you think, Jerm?
Yeah, she is definitely a wild one, and we finally caught up to her on her birthday.
Yeah, no one feels nothing but bad for Beulah, but she was being an asshole. She sent a bunch of beer to the guy whose job it was to watch her. She took off with some weirdo rando cowboy. She didn't bring any of her girlfriends with her for some kind of protection. She goes to some kind of kooky hotel that must be the only one of 3 kooky hotels in town because Mariano manages to find it. And she's just been slapped around real good when he finds her. And we don't know much more than that. We proceed with the things that are happening in 2026. And then at the end of the episode, we go back to her being found out by Mariano, and she's just watched the rabbit die, as they say. The darn thing is blue. She's pregnant. We know by math it's Rob Will. And this cowboy guy, like, we didn't get enough of him to know anything, but that he's just a real lowlife. Typical urban cowboy looking type of guy. They wanted him to be a little overly handsome. We don't get the best look at him either. Was he tall, lean guy, kind of like a bad version of Ryan O'Neal. And she's just an asshole for chasing after him because there's guys like this running around all over the place, and he's already underhanded and duplicitous. She could pretty much date everyone she wants. But she's going to date rando from out of nowhere in a town where she knows everyone. Maybe that's why she has to date randos?
I don't know if she knows everyone in Fort Worth.
Is that where they took her?
They were in Fort Worth for her 21st birthday.
Oh, wow. So poor Mariano had to drive for like 9 hours, huh? Just to deal with all that.
Yeah.
Sometimes the pickup trucks go warp speed. He had that pickup truck going warp 4. You can fire up the steam. You can fire up the steam core with some beautiful clean coal and get there faster with those. But so that's Beulah and Rob Will. And when we left him at the end of 7, what happened was Rob Will had been sent away to deal with going to rehab for blowing away Wes Ayers. Whitney Ayers and their baby keep coming around and yelling at the 10 pedals people that they want to know what's going on with Wes. He's the provider for this small family. He's got a baby. What's going on? Where is he? He wouldn't just not call me. Whitney, go home. Whitney, go home. Whitney shows up a couple of times, increasingly more agitated. I guess the last time we see her is, under a week, but getting close to a week since the last time we've seen Wes. So about 7 days into our story and about 2 weeks after the Montana fire that we see them flee, that wrecks up what's left of Yellowstone for them. Sound about right?
Yeah, close enough.
So Rob Will's going to go to rehab and calm down, and they don't want him coming back. And Kino, who is the son of Mariano, he's going to end up moving into the number 1 spot, and he's going to run 10 pedals when Beulah retires, because clearly Beulah already knows there's a few things wrong. And Jerm had a really good early guess that Rob Will was Everett's son. Everett, of course, is Ed Harris. I think we're going back to 1981 to see young Ed Harris. What do you think?
Very good chance. Obviously, him and Beulah have some type of past relationship.
They got some kind of current relationship.
They've got a current relationship too, but they have something in their past.
something happened where they wanted to get married and couldn't. Something stood in their way, and it was the ruin of Beulah and like probably embittering to Everett. Like while Everett was away at like Texas A&M going to like livestock doctor school, something bad happened again. This is probably like she probably was cheating on him with the crazy cowboy or something, because that's a Beulah kind of thing to do. Something was going on with Beulah and Everett when they were young, but we don't know when. We only saw Beulah on her 21st birthday. She might not know Everett yet, or she might know him and they don't have a relationship. I would say it's very likely she just knows him and they don't have a relationship, right? He's from that town, he said. Or did he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both from that town. They implied that they had a relationship, but at some point they each
We
moved on.
we don't know what the deal is. We will get that relationship. Like one chance is like, we're talking like football playing high school Everett and like cheerleader Beulah could very likely be it. Or we could be talking like post Vietnam, like messed up drinking Everett with like Beulah helping him back. Like we don't know. Like they keep presenting Annette Bening as Beulah two different ways. And this is one of the things before we move on to the next part of the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch catch up. One of the things that I think is most convincing about most of the stories we've gotten from Taylor Sheridan is he works very well with older actors. He respects their skill. He knows when to listen to them, it would seem. His directors know how to work with them, and he very carefully constructs scenes for them to look powerful. The most powerful 21st century scene for Harrison Ford is yelling at Timothy Dutton in front of that Dutton Ranch in 1923. He hasn't come close. The second most powerful scene is him pulling a gun and slapping it to that guy's face in the first season of 1923, right?
Yeah, that is probably one of
Probably.
his better scenes of the last 30 years.
So you're even willing to go back a little before the turn of the century. You're saying like Widowmaker, even then, that movie, he's not, I mean, it's not a great movie. I'm trying to
It's,
like the problem with poor Harrison Ford is that he can save a mediocre movie. So they start throwing him into a lot of them with more money than he would get. And he only gets a few real great movies. Like the Tom Clancy movies with him, those are usually pretty great, but
and
he's
those were
doing stuff
all
like,
35 plus years ago.
yeah. But the thing is, while he's doing them, interspersed in them are like bad rom-coms or movies like Firewall or stuff like with Rachel McAdams where he plays the newsman for the morning show, and just like all these strange roles. And he can save a movie, so he's in a lot of bad movies, and that's just what happens to poor Harrison Ford. He's the white Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman, and if you go with cameos, it's a lot of movies. How many movies that are just terrible is Morgan Freeman a part of just to give it a little bit of a push to hope it pushes it over the line to a 51% good movie? Think of War of the Worlds as a perfect example. He's not really in the movie, but at the beginning, there's a needless voiceover. Germs. Millions and thousands of tiny germs in every drop of water on our planet. I mean, what the? Why is he in that movie?
Well, you always need gravitas for your voiceovers.
Is it After Earth with Tom Cruise where he shows up making no sense, but of course he does have gravitas. He's in like 4 terrible Tom Cruise movies that make a fortune as like a wise sage like Scientology figure. And like no one wants to remember these movies, right? Am I right? Like we're trying to remember them now and figure out which one is which. After Earth is the best one. And him and Will Smith are making the same exact kind of movie over and over. They're weirdos who are going back to an Earth that's been abandoned to go big game hunting. We see that exact same kind of movie like 3 times in 5 years, don't we?
Yeah, it was kind of littered at that time with the same script.
Is
After
it
Earth is actually the Will Smith one.
Is the original story called Distant Sound of Thunder about time travel by one of the great sci-fi masters? Is that the one I'm thinking of? where the guy steps on a butterfly and it has like a butterfly effect across history that changes a modern election?
It might be. I don't remember offhand.
Anyway, that's the deal with that one. Harrison Ford has been a disaster and everything. In this show, they lean on to Annette Bening, and I think Beulah does what would have to be considered a pretty good job. She's got a lot of acting skill, and this is a rough character. Beulah looks like Elizabeth Warren. She's not a lot of fun, and somehow she delivers entertainment with Beulah, who is sort of like fondly telling old stories about, like, whatever, 1999 and stuff. She's a little bit like John Dutton, with like the occasional soft side popping up where she's like reminiscent and nostalgic and kind of nice. Which I guess, I honestly, the couple of times I saw Yellowstone, when he wasn't being a complete piece of garbage, he would do the same thing too, right? Being John Dutton. Sometimes
Yeah.
he'd reminisce about that nice day back in 1988 where I wasn't an asshole for 15 minutes.
Usually we'd get a nice little flashback with that, though.
So so we are doing a lot of Yellowstone stuff in this show. So when we left episode 7, which is the last one I saw, Rob Will had come back, and Joaquin was in a lot of trouble because Chet was out of his mind. We don't know what the magic powder that they're getting from Ayers is. We just know that Chet had more. Chet, Rob Will get together, and Rob Will and Chet are just like, they got the magic powder, and this does not seem like it's Bolivian marching powder. This seems like it's mixed up by a scumbag with a bow door in like a basement, right? This seems like more like you'd get from Heisenberg than you would get from Tony Montana. How's that sound?
Yeah, they're not really doing the highest quality stuff.
It's something really bad and really mind bending, and it's much, much worse than, like, we're not saying cocaine is good. We're saying whatever the hell they're doing is worse. It's just some mystery powder. They've been deliberately vague about it. If they try to dial that back to anything less than the world's worst meth, though, it's going to be hard to believe because they're not acting normal when they do it. They are really, I don't see coke affected people acting like that either. Like they must be on the one thing that I've never really seen. Like New York didn't have a meth craze. You know what I mean?
It's likely fentanyl.
We don't know, but it's the magic powder that makes people act bad. And so while Rob Will's on it, he's killed Ayers. Beulah's trying to clean up the mess. The first thing she does is she has Rob Will shipped off to like Promises, Texas, to go get off drugs for a while, and then he's going to go work for someone else, somewhere in Texas or Kansas, or he doesn't have to leave America yet, but he's on thin ice, and he's kind of lost his 10 petals privileges. Is how episode 1 ends. And because of the way Taylor Sheridan operates, or episode 2, because we get a two episode drop, the way the opening story ends is Rob Will's going to be out of there, and we ain't going to see him again because he can't behave. And he's just like a lot of other Taylor Sheridan characters that got a full introduction and just either got blown up or fell off a cliff or got shot and were just gone. Episode 1. We just figured he was an early show exit. I didn't see him coming back at all. Did you?
No, I think it would have been better for the story if he didn't come back at all. But apparently they got different plans.
I like when Rob Will's on screen because he's entertaining. Rob Will is enough of a dick to keep me interested, but I'm not a huge Rob Will fan. He is entertaining. After Earth is the one with Will Smith and Jaden Smith. Yeah, they're hunting like dinosaurs, right? But it's Earth in like 100,000 years. Like we've screwed up, and it's got a reset going on. Something like that.
Yeah, it's Earth after it's been abandoned.
And then there's another one that's almost exactly the same with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt, right? And everyone wears like white leather motorcycle outfits in both stupid movies, correct? I'm pretty close on this one. There may be a third movie in the There may be a third movie with Tom Cruise, like overlapping, contaminating the memory. He cranks out a lot of fairly identical movies in a 5-year period there, where the outlier was War of the Worlds, and that wasn't so great.
I think might be referring to Oblivion.
That's one of the other ones. Yeah. Is Emily Blunt in that one?
I don't think so.
The thing is, a lot of these movies happen during the time period where women aren't, and this is still the time period. You can't really have a relationship with Tom Cruise in a movie. It only happened for the first time in 15 years in Top Gun Maverick because he was too weird. He had to have an ex-wife or a dead wife or be a loner with pain like Jack Reacher. And what a ridiculous Jack Reacher now that we saw one that looks like the guy from the book, right? Could you imagine Tom Cruise's neighbor coming after him and just wiping the street with Tom Cruise?
Oh, the one with Emily Blunt is Edge of Tomorrow.
They're all the same movie, aren't they? Most of what I said is the same about all of these movies. It's Earth. It's no longer populated. People are going there from somewhere else. They're trophy hunting, treasure hunting, or information hunting. And in at least 2 of these movies, Morgan Freeman shows up as a weird sage-like character who's been surviving out there. And the default way the planet works is like the planet from Predators, plural, the one with Adrian Brody. It's just dangerous and crazy and jungle-like. But here and there, we see things like the Skyway or an abandoned, like a rundown skyscraper or just like a beat-down house or statue in the middle of nowhere. It's definitely Earth. All of these movies, correct?
For a great deal of it, Edge of Tomorrow is basically World War III against aliens.
But Earth has again been pretty much reset.
Parts of it.
Tom Cruise makes a lot of these movies in a short period of time. Morgan Freeman's in a lot of them. He had a big contract with, I think it might have been Paramount or Columbia. Okay. When he jumped up on Oprah's couch acting crazy. This was too much for most people because Tom Cruise at that point had been around for about 20, 25 years. We remembered him from movies like Taps, where he was a kid actor, and ensemble casts. He might have been in like one of their friends in The Outsiders. He's around a lot of movies at the edge of these movies, putting in good performances, and he's not quite a brat packer. Would that be about right?
Yeah, that's kind of what he did in the 80s.
He's moving in and out of the same circles as Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. And only Emilio is a brat packer. You have to hit certain things, but he's not a brat packer. But like every once in a while, you'll see him in a movie with one of them, like an Ali Sheedy or whatever. Some rando will end up in a movie with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is kind of like he's got his own movies, and he's a little bigger than all of them put together. But he is a pretty good actor, and we don't know how nuts he is yet. And here's how crazy and how long he's been around. Can you name Tom Cruise's first wife?
Oh, first wife. I didn't really start paying attention until Nicole Kidman.
Mimi Rogers. From Austin Powers, she's Mrs. Countryton. The hot chick in the leather outfit, that's Mimi. Her name's Mimi Rogers. She was Tom Cruise's first wife. She had a whole career. She was a bigger actress than him for a while.
Yeah, before I think most people started paying attention to Tom Cruise.
She divorced him for denying her sex exactly 7 years after they got married. Before any like the moment all divorce and prenups fell apart, like all things that keep you from getting into the other person's money, she stayed with him for exactly as long as it took to be legally married to him, to be entitled to some money. And then she just took off to get away from him because she's so weird. And she went back to whatever she was before she was. Like when she leaves him, he's like a fucking super Catholic who wants to become talking about leaving acting to become a priest.
Hard to believe Tom Cruise wasn't the weird one in that relationship.
She's weirder than him. I didn't know Mimi Rogers did any weird stuff. So then Nicole Kidman shows up a couple of years later. Her marriage to Tom Cruise, we all know a lot more about. It lasts exactly 7 effing years. Again, the exact amount of time it takes for all the legal problems to fall away, go away, and for him to be on the hook for some support and some alimony. And like they fight over the adopted children, and I don't think she has a relationship with them again for a real long time, but she just doesn't want to be part of this whole craziness. Then there's a rumor that people got auditioned to be the new Mrs. Tom Cruise between marriages. The stories from ScarJo that they say are credited to her, stories that we hear about bizarre dates with Tom Cruise, where all of a sudden all these Scientology people would come out and sit you down and talk about how great it would be if you were the next Mrs. Tom Cruise. And a lot of people scoffing at it because it's so weird and it sounds weird. Did you ever hear that any iteration of that crazy story going on while he was single for those 3-4 years?
Yeah, I heard a bunch of stories like that. Mainly around that Dawson's Creek actress that he married.
Katie Holmes is the one who doesn't think it's so, who decides it's not that weird and marries him.
I don't know if she didn't think it was weird, but she
found a way to marry
it.
him. She found a way to marry. Yeah. Apparently this was the story as it was going around as the rumor that we can't verify. That's from the early 2000s that Tom Cruise needs to get married real fast because he's gay. That's out there. That's out there big time. Everybody's talking about it. Tom Cruise is weird. Tom Cruise is weird. Tom Cruise being weird becomes the dominant Tom Cruise story, bigger than anything else, bigger than the fact that he can deliver a good acting performance, bigger than the fact that he can deliver a movie, and is probably the reason why he was never Batman. What would you say?
He's way too short to be Batman.
They don't care about that. They can cheat his height.
There's a lot of 5'2".
You actually really can. Let's just put it this way. There's a lot of reasons why he doesn't get, there's a few roles he doesn't get because he's just too weird. And one of the things that happens is the third marriage not working out. That marriage, guess how long that marriage lasts?
I'm guessing around 7 years.
Exactly 6 years, 11 months, 354 days later, 64 days later, she leaves to New York, where both of her parents are divorce attorneys, and files for divorce in New York on her terms while he's flat-footed in like Italy, making like whatever mission pointlessly complicated Mission Impossible 4, and ditches him. And again, like for the third time, he's on the line for a bunch of money. And this was the one where he tried to really sell that he was straight and he was getting married by jumping up on Oprah's couch. And at that point, Paramount decides he's so weird that they gave him his own film company. I don't know if he still has it. Is he still titular president of United Artists?
I'm not sure about what company he does still have
it was UA for a while.
Some production company.
We agree that the first one they gave him was UA, right? He was given UA so that he wouldn't be able to embarrass anyone else. They wanted him to have his own production company and do his own thing. They didn't have problems siphoning him the money. They didn't need to look at the script. They trusted him to turn in an action movie. They just didn't want to have to answer for his behavior. Is it the best way to put it?
Yeah.
They own the name United Artists. They blew the dust off it. They throw it to him. They're like, you're United Artists now. I don't know how long that lasts for, but for about 5 years, the only United Artists movies are his and Bond.
He is currently the proprietor of TC Productions.
All right, so they bought the name back from him, and he's in charge of Tom Cruise Productions, which makes more sense. And you know what? Like he needs the free. He's proven it by now. Tom Cruise doesn't scare people anymore, but he had to be like kind of walled off from any company because he was such a weirdo. So now with the rehabilitation being complete with Maverick, I don't know who they're going to get to do Maverick 2, or Top Gun 3. I don't know which one to call it. The director's committed to doing the Miami Vice 85 movie, which before we circle back to Yellowstone. You like how we're doing this one? I like to weave things together, Germ. When you heard about the Miami Vice show, I don't know, you were a kid when it was on, so whatever. You were too young to go out and stuff. Were you watching it on TV when it was on?
I remember seeing it a few times when I was a kid, but
You
really
understand?
wasn't. Yeah, and it's
You get what it's about. You
okay.
know its
Yeah,
whole deal, right? Okay. When you found out that they were making a movie, when you found out it was going to be set in 1985, didn't that reassure you as far as this movie has a shot?
I'm
So
still
what
very hesitant considering that last movie they made for Miami Vice.
there's real reasons to disregard the last movie, the biggest one being Michael Mann was not that involved with the show.
I don't
He
think
got a
Michael
big
Mann knew anything about it.
Michael Mann was the executive producer of the TV show and the director and producer of the movie. So what happened was it was his most successful property tied to him. So he tried to make a move on it himself. Now he's a qualified director and he can put
I
together a story, but it just didn't work for that movie at all.
I can't believe it because that movie was nothing like the series.
That's why it feels like a Michael Mann movie. Michael Mann's other biggest movie that you might have seen that would give you an idea, and it's going to snap in your head right away. That's the same guy. Heat. Heat is his next biggest
Yeah,
movie. Ali
that
is his
it's
next
but
biggest movie
it
after
seemed
that.
like a sequel to Miami Vice seemed like a sequel to Heat.
Manhunter is an earlier Michael Mann movie that's very crime oriented. That happens during Miami Vice. I'm trying to remember the movie that gets in Miami Vice, but Michael Mann is known for very fast paced, fast cut movies that do make sense and can stand up to analysis, but move extremely fast. Thief is the movie that gets Michael Mann Miami Vice, and that was a messed up movie with James Caan. But
You're right
the
about
Miami,
that, buddy.
I agree, by the way. Yeah, no, I'm not. So don't be sorry. Heat is a movie that is an hour too long because it got bloated because Michael Mann tried to make a movie that was important enough for Robert De Niro and Al Pacino to meet up for the first time ever. And the thing is, they had been in up to 3 other movies together, but they had never been on screen together. For instance, in Godfather 2, one plays the other one's father, but 35 years in the past. Maybe 40 years in the past. He's Robert De Niro is like 25-year-old Vito Corleone. When Al Pacino interacts with that character, it's Marlon Brando. That's how much time has passed. So they're in a bunch of movies together, but they never have a scene together. So they bloat heat to try to give it the dramatic weight for a movie that has the both of them in it. And first of all, I felt their scene was a little underwhelming. It depended
The
on
entire
Eddie.
movie is a little underwhelming.
The movie is a little too long, which makes it underwhelming. It's a gunfight waiting for a movie, isn't it?
It's
That
30
25
seconds of
minute
those
running
of
gunfight is the whole movie.
yeah, but it's a vessel for the two of them to be on screen together, and it seemed like they reverse engineered everything off of that.
Except the gunfight. The gunfight was an action set piece that probably could have sold any movie and almost saves Heat. If Heat is like 35 minutes shorter, that gunfight saves it. Heat is just way too long. We agree on that one, right? Heat is like about 35 minutes too long. What is Heat? 2 hours and 55 minutes? Something insane like that?
Something close to that, but
That must have been a hell of a summer. Heat or Casino? Which one do we spend most of our day at?
I would pass on both of them.
I would probably want to see both of them on TV so I could turn them off and stuff. They're worth watching, but you know what I mean? They're so long.
Yeah, if you have to watch them. I guess.
Heat's not the worst movie. It's just very, very slow. The story is fairly good. But when the two of them meet up and they have their... And is it the chick from Ronin, Natasha McElhorn? Is like the love interest in that? Is she like the rough waitress? It gets really weird. I do like the part where they take 50-year-old De Niro and give him like a 27-year-old girlfriend, which makes no sense. But okay. Being that age now, I would say, give me a 30-year younger than me girlfriend. I'm fine with that. I like that they got that message out, but yeah, like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino just drinking coffee and staring each other down. And drinking coffee and staring each other down. That went on a little too long, didn't it?
Yeah, about 2 hours too long.
So, but I mean, like the stare down, like they did nothing of substance. Is like, what is he? It's like, I'm a cop. You know that, right? I know.
Well, the entire movie has no real substance to it.
It's about guys who rob banks. One of them's a serial killer, and every once in a while they do something caper-worthy. But then the movie goes back to being what it is, which is what? A weirdly paced relationship drama about Val Kilmer and Ashley Judd? And everyone else is just sort of a well-developed but peripheral character to them? Sound about right?
Sounds about right from what I remember of it.
Yeah, it's off the top of my head. I'm hard. Hey, here comes NYPD. They'll never take me alive. At any rate, for their weekly appearance on the show. So whatever. Heat is what it is. Michael Mann is what he is. His direction style is like kind of fast paced and confusing, but like he invites rewatchability, and then you notice things in the background that justify what the hell's going on. Like his stories do add up. His problem is he makes too much sense. He's a good filmmaker for modern audiences because he's really fat, like a lot of fast cut scenes, lots of fast cuts per scene. All right, let's bring it home. Tell me all about episode 8 and what the hell happens. We leave off with Beulah in episode 7. Joaquin Beulah, Chet's dead. He overplayed his hand by being a dick. Joaquin he's pretty good with Rip, but he doesn't really know how to deal with Rip. I get the feeling that he did not destroy his relationship with Rip. Rip seemed to be giving Joaquin instructions. Joaquin takes a bullet to the soft part of the hand, takes no bone damage. Everett's able to fix it up, and Chet gets blown away by a more steady person, and they got to get rid of him too now. But when he walks up to Rip at the party for the 190th anniversary of 10 Pedals, he starts talking about what happened and thanking him, and Rip goes, "Whoops, good to see you, good night," and just walks the fuck away. In one of the funnier but darker scenes. Was that contrived to be funny? Because it was kind of funny.
No, it wasn't supposed to be funny. It's just don't talk about it. And we just committed a crime, so shut your damn mouth.
There's a little bit of humor to it if you understand how Rip operates, but it wasn't supposed to be a ha-ha moment. It was just a little bit of like sort of like a chuckle.
So maybe funny, weird, not funny.
But yeah, right. He walks up and he's an idiot and he's detailing all these things about this person that they killed. And Rip's just like, "Well, have a good night." What's nothing to do with this conversation, but he's being perfectly normal until then. So I don't know what he's trying to do. Is he trying to like speak in code to him about how not to mess up their friendship?
More like not to incriminate them.
How long is Casino? Does it go crazy and go to the 4.5 hour mark, right? It has an intermission, doesn't it?
I remember it being pretty long. I don't remember how long.
Oh, wait, it doesn't have an intermission because the last movie before The Hateful Eight to have an intermission was, can you guess? We talk about the franchise a lot. Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Star Trek: The Motion Picture was the last movie to have an overture until Hateful Eight. Is that crazy?
I didn't think the motion picture had overture.
It plays before the movie. It's great too. The Black Hole did have an overture, but I think it comes out weeks before Star Trek: The Motion Picture. Star Trek: The Motion Picture comes out with like just a few days left in 1979. It comes out the year before Bird of Prey 5's birthday. It's like December 7th, like 24th, like 1979 is the date of the movie, and he's like December 7th, like 1981. I think, if I have that right.
78.
Okay. Thank you. For the motion picture. All right. Let's get into this. We beat around the bush enough. Hello, everybody. So, Beulah's medevacs to the hospital. I'm going to guess that does she ever wake up in this episode?
Oh, yeah. She wakes up. At one point, she gets Everett to sneak her out of the hospital.
All right. So, she's awake, defiant, and with it.
Yep.
Okay. Is she scheming and conniving?
To a point to try to get Rob, Will, and Joaquin to get along.
Black Hole might theoretically be if Black Hole has an overture, maybe theoretically you're right. Like, I'm not going to swear to what I said because I got it from another YouTube show. So, who knows what their research is, but it sounded like a pretty safe bet. And like some research supported it. I did take a casual glance at the information. So I could be wrong. Could definitely be wrong. All right, keep going. I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Oh, we got Beulah trying to patch things up with her boys.
I'm gonna guess Joaquin is not gonna want to talk to her. Joaquin got screwed out of this at the last minute with a rug pull by Rob Will, who shows up and just what has he got? Something on the mother, or he just guilts her so bad she falls?
He's threatened to take out Joaquin.
That is kind of what he says, isn't it? Like, basically, you're going to make me boss or I'll kill Joaquin.
Yeah.
So she has to burn Joaquin if she loves him.
Pretty much. So
this is just underscoring that she doesn't really, she doesn't hate Rob Will at all, but she loves Joaquin, doesn't she? As messed up as she is, as best she can.
Yeah, Joaquin is definitely her favorite.
That's a shock helicoptering in episode 5 because up until now, Joaquin has been nothing but the good son, and she seems pretty disinterested in him, doesn't she? Most of the time.
Yeah, she seems pretty disinterested in pretty much everybody except for the ranch.
And herself. Yeah, maybe Beulah's just stayed very selfish. Is that what it is?
Sort of selfish and self-contained would be more like it.
How about this? Let me ask you a question. True, in your opinion, has she experienced some form of identity fusion with 10 Petals?
Well, yeah, that ranch is everything to her, and she's put off most of her life in favor of the ranch.
And this ranch is a beautiful, huge, gorgeous, valuable, but expensive, hard to maintain, and low yield profit cattle ranch where she's a woman, so she's not out there in the field. She's not a working female cowboy. The show has these. We haven't had that one from Yellowstone come back yet, but they had working female cowboys in Yellowstone, one of whom is up the road a piece. I'm waiting for that actress to show up. Aren't you wondering where that pink-haired cowgirl chick is who's kind of cool? The one they sent to 66 Ranch, to 46's Ranch?
Yeah, she's on that ranch and was going to be part of that show until it got either
that show ended up not happening.
Yeah.
This was the official explanation for 46's, and I pretty much believe it. I think what happens is this is an embellished version of the actual real truth. Mr. Sheridan is making a lot of television right now, and his home is the 66 Ranch, which was why they thought they could make a show there. But the truth of the matter is, Mr. Sheridan needs to relax and be at home when he's at home because he works so hard and makes so much TV that the idea that we turn his very home into a TV lot where he has to work and he wakes up at work would make him completely crazy and a useless storyteller. So we're going to dial it back and let him off the hook on 4-6's Ranch.
Yeah, that seems to be a rather simplified version of what they said.
Yeah, we had to spell that one out for 2 years, but that is more or less the story they're telling us. Is that Taylor Sheridan needs to go home and sleep like everyone else. Which, by the way, that one is one of the more slowly unfolding stories to have made sense from the Paramount sale. I don't know. I don't scoff at that one. Your opinion on the Taylor Sheridan 4-6's had to go because of makes enough sense to me, quite honestly. We knew all the
Yeah,
shows couldn't happen.
yeah, it makes sense. I think they picked and got the highlights of all the stuff they're planning. CBS is very happy with what they got on the nighttime television with Marshalls, and Dutton Ranch is doing quite well. They already got approved for season 2.
That's going to keep their streaming service alive. Dutton Ranch is doing great. And like you said, Yellowstone Marshals is a conventional hit and a conventional show. We'll check back in on it to make sure they don't go Yellowstone. My feeling is this: they're going to pull the Yellowstone out when that show gets in trouble, but that show might not get in trouble. What do you think?
No, it's doing pretty well. The network's happy enough with it.
The show is doing so well that we had the problem of people who want to watch the show watching our review just because it had the same thumbnail as the show. So I had to change it to a less appealing thumbnail and change the name of the show. For a while there, we used to have to start the live reviews with "This is not the show, this is the review." And my God, was that ever good for the reviews? As far as I would rather have 200 people who want to watch the show watch the show than was there that one Yellowstone that was 75,000 people who just didn't get it? Where we gave it when we finally gave up on it?
Yeah, there's quite a few people there bitching about where's the show? Where's the show?
Actually, most people did get it, but we weren't getting a lot of angry comments. Just the few comments we got where it was obvious that people were not getting it. It's like, you know what? A lot of what you do on YouTube just can't be your back catalog. And our 1 hour of analysis on Yellowstone was real good, but people didn't know where to get it. So getting rid of the watch party part and just doing the analysis straight up, giving people a chance to watch with us elsewhere, that was the right way to use the platform.
Yeah, the YouTube seems to understand the separation a little bit better.
It also doesn't leave you with a vulnerability in your format where people can show up in the middle of your watch to jack your audience, which was becoming a problem. I wonder who we might be talking about, but that was becoming a problem. So Beulah's sneaking out of the hospital. What's her plan? Just keep Rob Will out of trouble?
She
Cover up
just
this
wants out
air
of
thing?
she wants out of the hospital. She could give a fuck at that time, and she just wants Everett to get her out of there.
Are we going to be moving on to a new big star and having Annette Bening just die? Is she in that kind of medical trouble?
No, she seems okay.
So this was more like some kind of like stress attack.
It is a full-blown heart attack, and according to what they said on screen, angioplasty and the whole 9 yards.
So they're going to have to harvest a vein from her leg if that's what the procedure that you're referencing is called in this fictional story.
Yeah.
All right. So she's in a lot of trouble. She's going to need some aftercare. But she might be able to, but you're right about her might being able to bust out of the hospital.
If they completely busted out of the hospital and are at Everett's home, and he is giving her all the attention she needs.
Was Everett able to walk her out of the hospital, or did they have to bust her out?
Oh, they just walked her out of the hospital without telling anybody, and they're in full blown panic mode as Everett walked her right out the door.
People at least know where she is, or is she AWOL and
Completely AWOL.
Okay, so Rob Will's loving this one. Am I right? Rob Will loves it.
Well, we could only assume they never got the reaction from Rob Will or anyone else.
So that was the end of that episode. What goes on with Rip and Beth?
Just Beth really isn't in it too much. Rip spends most of the episode trying to work Carter on the Tin Petals Ranch. He's screwing up a lot because he's still hungover, and in the end, Carter ends up running away. Just gets in his trucks and drives off.
Carter was getting ready to run away for absolutely no reason, and this is one of the least well-supported elements of the show because he can do whatever he wants. Things are okay at Yellowstone, and it ain't like he was a well-liked guy who had a ton of friends. I'm sorry, things are okay at the Dutton Ranch, and it's not like he was this well-loved guy that no one in Montana can live without. Like, he didn't really fit in well up there either. They're selling it as he has a desire to be independent, but it's not backed up by anything because Rip and Beth they're totally cool to him. They give him a truck, and he doesn't have to do anything. They want him to be a kid. They want to bond with him.
Yeah,
like, this is atypical of Rip and Beth. He's 19.
Yeah, he's 19. He's not a kid anymore, and he's in a little bit of a hurry to grow up, and it's just their version of teen angst.
How's Ariana fit in?
She didn't not really do anything in this episode except for stand there and look concerned for Beulah. She has no lines.
Sorry, I was muted. I was just thinking there for a second. Did Rob Will maybe like slip something to Beulah? Because that sure was a convenient moment for her to almost die.
They gave no indication of that.
No, but she's drinking with him right before it happens. I mean, not knocking him back, but she's there and they have the glass of wine while that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if I remember
it's
right.
possible, but they haven't really hinted at it.
He's that kind of guy, though. Rob Will's just garbage. The other wild card would be the drug dealer's girlfriend and the baby out there somewhere who know enough to run away from Beulah.
Oh, yeah, they're long gone.
No update on them.
No update on them.
Sheriff pull any more crazy shit? Kill anybody?
He talked with Carter a little bit, but that's about all.
Why do I feel like Carter's going to end up working for the sheriff?
He tried.
The only person he's friends with.
He asked them for a job, and his response was, "You need a GED. Go to the unemployment line."
So Carter's going to have a GED by the end of the next episode. He wants to be a cop. That would seem to be his plan at this point. I don't see them doing it, but at some point they could be like, I want to be like Uncle Casey. I want to be in law enforcement.
It is possible. Any idiot can pass a GED.
Where is everybody at the end of it? Any important character updates, or did we just more or less proceed along the lines that we had been talking about?
More or less on the lines. We end the episode with Joaquin making a phone call to his father, who we assume is in control of the Tin Petals in Mexico on their end of this cattle smuggling.
he's in on this cattle smuggling, and he's obviously, because he's down with them, a bandito. They're all bad guys. They wear black hats at 10 pedals. And I don't know. One of the things that Beth was going to do was somehow pass their beef off as good without people figuring it out. It's not so great. Um, you would think that some sort of infusion of better like cattle DNA into the 10 pedals line would be part of their recovery. Because one of the things that's messing up 10 pedals is their line of cows got messed up. Their cow lineage got messed up. Cow lineage is a big thing in this show, folks. It's the oil of landman of Dutton Ranch. Cattle lineage is a big deal.
Yeah, and them smuggling Mexican cattle over with fake paperwork really isn't helping.
And the cattle could have a bunch of stuff wrong with them. They're the reason why there's like diseases that shouldn't be in the area out there. Although that guy who bought the bull probably was a solo operator who did a bunch of bad things on his own. But you can assume that like whenever it goes to 10 pedals, he's like keeping it to himself that there's a bunch of things going on over there that are just as bad as what's going on at Rips.
Yeah, it's pretty safe to assume.
And by the way, there's evidence buried at the edge of the Dutton Ranch that could put Rip away for about 25 years, sure. Covering up a fucking CDC outbreak.
Yeah, it's that put most of the town in prison.
Here's the deal. There's something wrong with Rip's and Beth's cows. Rip and Beth's cattle get foot and mouth disease, and they don't do the right thing. They don't tell the government. They don't have like scientists come in and quarantine the area and figure everything out. They just put down their herd, which Everett's there. He's like basically telling them, you do this, you'll be all right. Yeah, obviously, there's no cows left to spread it. So they ruthlessly put down their herd. On the one hand, that's the right thing to do, but it's like a federal felony not to tell anybody and a crime against, I don't know, agriculture laws, at least in Taylor Sheridan's world, right?
Yeah, a very severe crime.
All right, so that's just going on. They wouldn't let Carter anywhere near that, so he's lily white on that one. But Beth and Rip are both as dirty as could be. Although I don't know if Beth went near the scene where they got rid of the cattle either.
Oh no, Beth was helping.
Or was she?
She was right there wrangling them into the hole and spreading the lie to cover up the corpses.
I just remember Rip firing this repeating rifle over and over and over, just ejecting one shell after another and firing again, with the sunglasses looking, impassive. And it's just like, you spent all this money to get this expensive cattle lineage and they're gone in 1 week because you spent the last of your money to improve them.
Yeah, but the guy who sold him that bad bull,
He
he got
suffered.
what was coming to him.
That doesn't put the money back in their pocket or bring their herd back to life. But yes, they burned down his trailer. They beat the crap out of him and they set him off in like his car with his shoes and his underwear. And that's all he's got. And he's got to leave town. It's kind of funny. He had it coming.
Yeah.
You destroyed that business. It makes you wonder why anyone would subvert those laws. You know what I mean?
Well, the USDA is a little bit more lenient than Rip and Beth.
But that guy hadn't followed the USDA's laws. He had gone even further. Remember, he said you faked all the paperwork.
Yeah.
You lied about where you got it from.
And he would probably face about 5 years for everything he did. Rip and Beth burned down his entire life, and if he's ever caught again, well, he's going to end up in the desert.
Well, he ruined their whole life by forcing them to do something that would get them locked up for the rest of the time they've got left. So, yeah, right? He had that coming. Where is Joaquin at the end of episode 8?
At the end of the episode, he is at 10 Pedals on the phone with someone he calls Papa, and
That's what it's
we're
gonna be,
assuming,
Mariana.
yeah,
All
we're
right. What?
assuming he is the guy who was talking to Beulah in the earlier episodes about some shady dealings, and we should be getting an appearance next week.
And the good news, if you're Beulah, is that even though you've got a lot of problems, you've got a pretty good shot that Everett's going to know what's wrong and call the ambulance right away while he gives you some very effective first aid. So it's not exactly like you walked out, although no doctor likes this idea.
Well, Everett's going to be giving her something. I don't know if it's first aid.
She already had a heart attack. If he doesn't give her another one, he's just going to be a terrible lover, right? He's got, like, who would want that pressure?
Hey, they're old. Let them do what they do, and your heart's got to give out sometime.
I don't know how they're going to explain their hurt away. There's a bunch of ways to say that they. I don't know if you have to account for culling off your own herd. For all we know, though, you might be required to bring one of their skulls to like the cattle inspector. Like, we just don't know what goes on when you do livestock in America, just like we don't know how people drill for oil. Landman gives us enough landman based information. And in that show, they stayed pretty close to the truth. Could you do what they did and get away with it without reporting it? I legitimately would wonder. I don't know. It's hard to say, Germ, isn't it?
Yeah,
Depends
it
where you
is.
are.
Yeah, it
Might be.
depends where you are and how close the USDA is looking at you.
We would have to assume at this point they're in great shape because they just got the place and got all their licensing and inspection done. And guys, if you're out there, a couple comments wouldn't help. Keep the chat lively as we round out the Yellowstone part of this. What were the major developments, or was I right when I said episode 8 itis we're building up for 9 and 10? And in 9, we're going to have things such as some sort of answers for Everett and Miss Beulah, some sort of confrontation with Rob Will where a piece of the truth is going to come out, and some kind of moment, maybe on the phone or maybe in person with Joaquin, where she says she's going to try to make it up to him. That's what I would think has to happen in episodes 9 and 10. Yeah. I don't know if all of them happen in one or the other, but these are the things that are going to start happening. I would predict that the Joaquin situation gets sewn up first, not because it doesn't have so much human drama potential, but because if you get him back on your side and remotivated, him arching off against Rob Will, like one of them might do something that leaves the other in jeopardy for the cliffhanger between seasons, right? Like they're capable of it. They've already said next time I see you. They've already had that talk, haven't they?
They've already had that talk. My prediction is that we end up with Joaquin's father making an appearance at the end of 9, and maybe Rob Will getting shot at the end of 10.
Rob Will may survive if he has a talk with Mariano and Mariano convinces him not to be an asshole, but he's going to have to take up the offer from the original episode and leave, and no one sees that happening. He's really bent out of shape that for a while there he wasn't head cowboy at 10 Pedals, and he's like ranting on and on about his grandfather, and he's kind of wondering about his father, who's just some crazy cowboy that Miss Beulah deleted because he was an attackist. Guess that's a good way to put it. People know what I mean, right?
Yeah, it's a good way to put it.
I like that. It's a terrible thing would happen, but at least we have a funny word. So the attackist is just dead. Is there any more tension? Hey, what's going on, Citrus? I didn't see you there. What's going on between Rob, Will, and Beulah by the end of the episode over the attackist? Is he still wondering where Pa is?
He never had a question about where his pa was. Wow. He's obviously never met him, and it shows in his behavior he never had a father.
Not only that, but whatever it is, relationship that Everett had with Beulah didn't spill over to any kind of mentoring of Rob Will whatsoever, or it was
It doesn't
strongly
appear to.
rejected.
He is more mentored by his grandfather because he is apparently the spitting image of him, body and soul. His grandfather was a wretched asshole, and so is Rob Will.
Well, when we hear the story of how 10 Pedals got there, it's just a line of one wretched asshole after another doing one terrible thing after another to keep the ranch going, starting with some guy who stole a cow.
Yeah. So it's a great family tradition.
I've never heard of any Irish immigrants named Jackson, but whatever. That's like one of the least of the questions we have. So going into episode 9,
they did answer that.
You're kidding me.
They answered that in episode 7. Jackson was the name of the whore he ran off with.
Oh,
because people were trying to kill him.
All right, so at least he's a funny Irish immigrant. This guy,
it's a long tradition for the Irish to take the names of the women they run off with because their own last name tends to get them put at the end of a rope.
All right, you and I are both like Irish. You're mostly Irish, right?
Mostly.
And I'm a good deal Irish. So we're laughing because like we've heard these insane stuff. This is not that insane of a story for an Irish family. This guy just ended up, his descendants did better, but he was as kooky as could be. And so all the Jacksons are just nuts. And that's been their family and their family's problem since day one.
Yeah. Well, it said there's a good number of Irish immigrant families over here who only left because there were people hunting them down.
If the British Crown had a little bit more of an amnesty policy, a lot of us wouldn't be here, Admiral Teague included, right?
Yeah, the British Crown, fathers of unwed mothers looking to
Indian Rights Enforcement Agency, where probably our ancestors were like stealing stuff from there too, from the Guardians. That's the one thing we haven't gotten into. There's got to be a Guardian tribe nearby, right?
Oklahoma.
No, I mean in Dutton Ranch.
The closest would probably be Oklahoma.
We got fake Guardians. There's probably a fake Guardian reservation real close. Besides, they're in southern Texas. There's a Guardian reservation up near Austin.
Possibly, but you're more likely to see Mexican cartel or something similar to that in this show.
By the way, Buddy brings something up. Landman probably back around November. It looks like it's a fall drop every year. And it's going to be a wild July because it looks like Landman will end in a week or two. And then you and I have... Tell me it doesn't feel good to hear this. The second to last season of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get through, but at least it's ending.
Can you imagine how bad and how budget and how terrible this season of Stranger Worlds will be? We have a clip. This is an actual clip. That's us watching. The puppet's real. This fucking puppet. This is real. We're still trying to get used to that. And we have both said this to each other, and we'll say it again now. Our prediction is that in the episode where the puppet universe happens and they go to this puppet dimension where they exist as puppets, there'll be something on scanners. Then they'll just be puppets. We'll do a whole episode. Then at the end, they'll change back to people. Deus Ex Machina style, someone will look at someone else and say, were we just puppets? And the response will be, let's not talk about it. And that's how the episode will end, correct? They're not going to explain this.
Oh yeah, there's no way in hell they're gonna even try to explain it.
It's going to be more of an abuse. I consider the last season of Strange New Worlds fan abuse. What do you think? More fan abuse?
Definitely wall to wall fan abuse.
What do you think? We're going to get more beating up on Captain Kirk and William Shatner, or have they shot their wad with that one?
I think they're gonna go away. Yeah, they're gonna go off of that as much as they can and
I think
just try to rush through.
They're going to try to have some sort of poetic ending where Kirk and Spock take command of the bridge, aren't they?
Yeah, it ends with Kirk taking command for Pike.
But the thing
that
is,
was happening the day they
for a
premiered.
show that's okay. Quickly, that's a setup for a show that they're going to try to do. It's not a real ending either.
That they were at one time going to try to push that, but Kirk taking command of the Enterprise was always going to be the finale for the show from day one.
All right, so they make it through 5 alleged seasons. This next one coming up is going to be 10 episodes. This is going to be rough. Disparu said it. We've confirmed it. Germ, I guess you agree, right? The most destructively bad to Star Trek show is actually Strange New Worlds, correct?
Yeah, that's been the most damaging so far. Through sheer incompetence.
Sheer incompetence of the story writing, and also like the heavy injection of communism and other bought and paid for ideas.
Yeah.
It's pretty
Which
bad.
is present in all the others, but this one through
it's done badly
ignorance,
and a lot. Yeah. It sounds crazy saying this, but they have a lighter touch with the communism in Starfleet Academy.
Yeah, it's all the teen angst gets in the way. They think they're Dawson's Creek, so they forget about all the communist propaganda.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see 16 stories in this. Do you?
16? Hell, we haven't even gotten one. So why would they start now?
I mean, but we're somehow going to manufacture 16 so-called episodes of this. They're going to chase a MacGuffin most of the season and do.
Yeah, it's going to be one MacGuffin after another.
Next couple of years.
Yep. And with the occasional puppet and musical number.
Yeah, it's a disaster. I'm not too fond of it. All right. Well, hey, we've got that one out of the way. That's our prediction. This week, instead of Star Trek, we're doing Patton. Let's talk about that for a minute. Doing any research on that one? Have you had a chance to watch the movie?
I've started the movie, but haven't finished it yet.
It's a pretty long movie. What part are you up to?
I only got like 10 minutes into it.
It's pretty intense opening 10 minutes. Did you notice that Roger Corby's in it?
I did not notice that.
Roger Corby is one of the staff officers that you see early on. He's the guy with the list of casualties that reads what all the things that went wrong.
I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, it's weird, right? It's him, though. It's Roger Corby. Guys, do me a favor. If you're coming through later, your like and follow is just valuable. So, hit those like and follows if you're here now. We could use that. Wouldn't hurt at all as we get back up to speed. Tuesdays might take a little while to reestablish. It seems like people are more ready and fired up for Thursdays.
Yeah, I think we're more established on Thursdays. People are ready for the new Trek torture.
That's going to be the new Trek day. And I guess what we found out now is based on current experience, if you flaunt everything and you get crazy and go like multiple hours without ever making a point, they'll demonetize you and you're going to have to make it look like you're a different kind of person to go forward. And if you repeat those trends, demonetization would probably be a given, right? Because it's happened to you twice now. Right. You've been warned to demonetize, remonetize, demonetized, and remonetized for going for hours and 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 hours. So between a 200-hour a month and everything else, there was I guess what you would call a drive-by tax. I would hope that in the future, if they want to have those really long shows, what they could do is honestly, if you have to go 6 hours to make a point, and let's face it, that is a hangout thing. They were so successful at transitioning their audience over to Rumble. They should do that. Edit the Scotty stuff because he's just so edgy, and then upload that, and YouTube will think they're geniuses. Am I correct, right?
Anything's possible. And hello, Gavin.
Hey, Blackie, what's going on, buddy? It's good to see you, guys. Blackie's here. Hello to you, sir. Yeah, we're gonna try to keep our longer episodes for the new Trek stuff, only because it takes so much. It's so painful to process it, and also like Patton on July 4th. It's a pretty sure thing that a lot of people are going to be out this weekend. We're showing up on Saturdays because we show up on Saturdays, and it's the 4th of July. There's one thing we've always said about this is that we're an American channel and that we're going to do American things. And so the 4th of July is a patriotic holiday. And I know one thing, Germ. Did you know, sir, that all true Americans love a winner and cannot stand a loser?
I guess that's why there's not too many Yankees fans.
Well, I mean, that's why there's so many Yankee fans. At any rate, when we come on Saturday, we're going to be examining possibly what is there a more patriotic movie than Patton, Germ? Is there a more patriotic movie? I think one of the things that the movie has going for it is at a low point in American history for the American zeitgeist during the lowest points of Vietnam. That movie gets people fired up about it's okay and pretty cool to be an American, doesn't it? Weirdly.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't around.
We know it just from history. I wasn't really around. In 1970, my recollection is like, nothing. We know that. Did you know that Richard Nixon bombed North Vietnam twice after seeing Patton?
I did not know that, but it does make sense.
After seeing the movie, he declared major new bombing offensive and called off peace talks 2 different times in the White House, theater, to the point where they said, like, don't let the president watch Patton anymore.
Maybe they should let him watch it at least one more time.
They were afraid he was going to go nuclear and do something insane because he wasn't letting his own guys in on his reasoning. And let's face it, we found out Richard Nixon, not the most well-reasoned president, was he? Whether or not we liked what he did. Right before he
at
left
least
office,
he was smarter than Ford and the peanut guy.
He knew where Europe was on the map, unlike Ford. And the peanut guy, the economy never recovered from losing the war. America, that was the thing. I couldn't believe, when you watch Patton and Patton says, Americans cannot and will not ever lose a war. It's like, wow, and he's saying it with total confidence, and you realize that those are his words. It should be fun reviewing Patton. We have enough Patton stuff on this channel.
I would hope so.
I would think by now we have enough Patton. Sometimes we listen to his words of wisdom.
The Carthaginians defending the city. were attacked by 3 Roman legions. Arab women stripped them of their tunics and their swords and lances. The soldiers lay naked in the sun. 2,000 years ago, I was here. Well, this match will not be postponed. The Carthaginians defending the city.
Oh, you know what? It was powerful enough
legions.
the first times. We could just turn that one off. Sorry, folks. It's hard to see the little loop icon. You know, I think my favorite part of that is when like he pauses for a moment and you hear that haunting trumpet, and you can tell that it's a Star Trek composer, can't you?
Yeah, it does sound very familiar.
He's just so signature. Is there, from our time, people will argue Williams. I don't think I'm crazy or alone when I argue that Goldsmith is better. Was Bird of Prey 5 on the Goldsmith side of that one, right? He also was willing to stake the unpopular claim that he thought Goldsmith was better too.
He's a fan of both.
I think everyone's a fan of both.
Yeah.
Goldsmith a little more modern, a little more raw. You know, John Williams is John Williams. He's so definitive. Like, what can you say? Like, John Williams-esque is probably a verb used to describe composers. I don't know who the modern John Williams is, or if there is one right now, or if there will ever be another. And certainly we lost a lot when we lost Jerry Goldsmith. The guy who did Archer's theme was able to very much capture Jerry Goldsmith. That's some other guy. Did you know that?
I'm not sure who it was, but yeah, it was some other guy.
I forget who it was too, but it was some other guy. That sounds like Goldsmith music, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, they were told to base everything off of Goldsmith.
And Alexander Courage as well, who did all that incidental music that we think of, like the Captain's Log music that we hear. And a lot of that lighter, airier music, that's always Alexander Courage. Goldsmith is the more militaristic and aggressive Star Trek music.
Yeah.
Although I think it's Courage, or is it? It's Fred Steiner who gives us the Romulan music, isn't it?
I think so.
I love this villainous part here, right? For conniving, when they do the conniving dialogue, and it has to build back up. And then we'll use our weapons, sir. So. Put the preacher's body in the photon torpedo tube. Put the centurion's body in the photon torpedo tube, right? Real Star Trek show, real Star Trek music. You can't do much better than that, can you, Jerm?
No, not really.
We got it right. It only played once. Hey, a technical mishap where things went right here on Admiral Teague's show. Man, we missed a lot of episodes. We had a wild June for me. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to be here more. We finished Enterprise. Germ, you stepped away before the end of the end. We went a lot longer this time. We finally finished it off. We had we went the distance with Enterprise. It needed to be put to bed properly. Season 1 and 2 discussion could be done in the time we did it in, because it's kind of very conventional Star Trek. 3 and 4, extremely involved, deeper, more complex Star Trek, changing the kind of Star, really pushing back at the definition of what Star Trek is. Oh, that's cool, Gavin. You know what? You know what? Don't paint them until you get the perfect paint. That's all. You need like mother of pearl, I would say. I mean, but I don't like mother of pearl is marbled through with gray, so it's like white with off-white inside of it. I don't know how you'll paint the pistols. That's going to be an interesting challenge. I'm gonna try to maybe get pearl handled pistol for my gold plated Desert Eagle. What do you think, Jerm?
Oh, that might be good. But if you're looking for a good pearl white, Games Workshop has a good selection of paint for stuff like that. I forget what they call it, but they have a white base that they use for the White Scar Space Marines. That would be a good choice. You're muted.
All right, thanks. We got your specialist's answer, and if you want, you can run that same thing by Sean. He also knows a lot about paint and stuff. He's got a really good Reliant just about done. Check that video out. It's fantastic. Sub to his channel at the bottom of my homepage. And also going on right now, you stepped away before the end of the Enterprise discussion. We talked about stuff. I think we got this out of you, but let's just talk about it for a minute. Season 3 or season 4, which do you prefer?
Season 4. I'm not a big fan of the Zindi arc. It's a little too close to the whole Temple Cold War, and I just wasn't a fan of any of the Zindi species.
Tegna worked out, but he was like a near human alien anyway, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us for a few minutes if you would, because you remember the panel. And, he was very important to us. We spent a lot of time talking about him and no discussion of Enterprise season 3 before I ask you about season 4 would be complete without. Can you tell me what it meant to you when you had Smallwood on screen? Tucker Smallwood and what he bought as the Zindi counselor who had no name. Degna's confidant, the black dude who I believe was he an arboreal or was he another primate?
I believe he's another primate. It's a shame
Tucker
they never actually gave
Smallwood.
him a name.
I would have liked that character to have had a name myself.
And hello, Real Headcase.
Hey, Headcase is here. Headcase, is good to see you. We're talking about Tucker Smallwood, the great Star Trek actor. Smallwood did other stuff too, although I don't know if he's immediately recognizable. I think he was pretty heavily covered in makeup in his other roles. I think this was the most we ever saw of the Smallwood. What did you recognize him, say, from Deep Space Nine? I think was his credit. Or was
I
he a
don't
Voyager
recognize him.
baddie?
I don't recognize him from anything else Star Trek. He's been secondary characters in some regular stuff, but nothing really important.
He's the kind of guy who would be the principal of the Fresh Prince's High School. Honestly, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like Tucker Smallwood has had like roles like that. He was a for real actor who if you were our age, between my age and Germ's age, you kind of recognize Tucker. How about you? Right? I was like, I kind of, right? Wasn't that the impression you got seeing him?
I've seen him on TV series. I just can't remember exactly where.
Because he's made up, but not super heavily. The center of his face we can see, but they're changing what's going on, or he's got some cranial ridges and stuff. So it's like, did he have a run-in with the nanny? Like, who is it? That's what's going on in your mind, because these are the kind of people showing up on Star Trek. And TNG, Moriarty is the nanny's like rival, right? Or the nanny's foil, really. The guy who jokes with her when she pretends to work, right? It's the butler, yeah. Basically, he jokes around and calls her a low-class loser every week. That was his role.
He calls the business partner a low-class loser.
The drunken whore lady?
Yeah, up until the point where he starts sleeping with her.
Good for him. Isn't he also one of the is he Captain Piet? He's in Star Wars too. No, he's Moff Jared, isn't he? Isn't he commander of Death Star 2?
I don't believe so. I don't recognize him from Star Wars.
That guy is in Star Wars, shockingly. All right, so season 4 is your favorite. You prefer, or is your more preferred one? It starts out real weird where we don't get to do homecoming. We talked about this extensively. I think you were already gone. Did it hurt them to end season 3 with something that was supposed to be another season long arc with Berman and Braga coming back and not consulting with the people they were working with and just doing whatever the fuck they wanted for their paycheck? Stormfront was a graceful balancing act for the people who didn't want to do it to get out and still provide a, in my opinion, very amusing 2-episode arc. It wasn't great, but they didn't want to do it at all. They thought they could get 2 episodes out of it. They didn't think it was subpar. They thought it was unsuited for a full season. And I think part of it may have just been distaste for the idea and the aesthetic. And also, I don't know if you've read the book, but if you're familiar with it or not, I just take my word for it if you haven't. It is very, very close to the idea of Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, it is very close to that. Oh, Tucker Smallwood's top credit outside of Star Trek is actually Space Above and Beyond as the ship commander.
That would mean that Tucker Smallwood also probably has a couple of X-Files appearances as a conspirator. Isn't there a black conspirator? He's probably the black conspirator. Because we, out of the conspirators, we have the smoking man, the well-groomed man, the black guy, and the Brit guy. The well-groomed guy isn't the Brit guy. He just has like a high-born American accent. You know the guy I'm talking about, the guy that they kill in movie 1.
Yeah, I think so.
Well-groomed is just a guy who's like, he's real rich. He's got plush, beautiful, like gray hair. And he's just like fantastically coiffed, fantastically groomed, fantastically dressed. And in movie 1, he picks up Mulder in the street, like drives him around. He's like, get in the car. He's like, that's okay, I'm not interested. And he pulls out the gun. He's like, get in now. And he's like, okay, always willing to try something new. And he's like, it's not that. And he's like, he sticks like a dossier in his hand. It's got like some UFO pictures and other crap inside about the Bee conspiracy. He's the guy who dies in X-Files movie 1 over the Bee conspiracy.
I'm not too familiar with the first movie of X-Files.
Fucking.
I've only watched either of those once.
Second one is better than the first, isn't it? Am I alone in that? No connection to the conspiracy. No connection to the conspiracy. It was just an X-Files like crime by a more or less, for them, really grounded bad guy, right? What was he? He was an evil geneticist.
It was a double-length X-Files episode. That's all it was.
With R-rated violence and a bunch of murders.
Yeah.
It was much better than a TV episode of it, but it wasn't a whole new direction. They didn't change everything, and it wasn't confusing, bad, and scattered. It was like the last time that they really delivered a solid X-Files to us. And what, Mulder and Scully weren't in the FBI in the beginning of that one. That was a solid movie. I think it's better than the first one because it doesn't depend on the X-Files.
Yeah, it probably was better of them.
Don't you think what happened was that was a thriller movie that they had that involved FBI agents, and it just wasn't quite good enough? And they called Chris Carter, and they're like, your team's done. We know that you want to be finished, but we've got something that's very close to your style, and just bring your people back and they can have a proper goodbye. Because remember, that movie ends with a drone shot where they look up and wave goodbye. They break the fourth wall at the end of X-Files too. That should have been it. And as far as I'm concerned, I stopped counting canon there because that last miniseries was insultingly terrible.
Yeah, that Hulu season they put out, that doesn't really count.
It was really terrible, and it ends with the aliens revealing themselves, which means the X-Files ends. So the Ryan Coogler show isn't legitimate based on the last legitimate X-Files episode we get, unless that's just bullshit. I don't know. What's up with Hulu? It is Fox. They didn't change,
Maybe
like
Disney at the time.
No, they weren't Disney when they did that one. That's so long ago, bro. The Disney thing only happened for real about 18 months ago now. Think of how long ago the X-Files final episode was, like 2017. It was 11 or 12 years ago, the last time they went back for a dip. I watched it with my dad. That's how long ago it was. I remember him thinking he was stupid, too. I remember my mom thinking that one episode with the weird alien that talked like Trump, she was just like, what kind of idiocy are they making us watch? That was a terrible way for their journey to end. But the last thing we see from them is he's sticking his head out of the moon roof of the car they're in, looking up at the UFO that's over the Beltway in Washington. Any pretense there's no aliens is absolutely over. They rip off the scab and walk away. Chris Carter didn't seem to care. Now we're going to get this Ryan Coogler show. It can only be an X-Files, not the X-Files, and it shouldn't be a shared world unless we're going to rewind time, which means we can't see Mulder and Scully, and we already heard Mulder will be in it. But he's going to play the role of the guy who sometimes shows up with a little info. We had that character the first 2 seasons. Remember the guy from, for those who are older, he was the guy from Kolchak, the Night Stalker.
That was 2018.
The X-Files was it was a really long time ago, that one. All right, so maybe my father wasn't there, but it was that long ago. Like, not too long after he passed away. That is like a really fucking long time ago. That final episode. Like I said, I remember my mom being like, what the hell did they make us watch? And like, she was confused and annoyed by it. And then that last episode was just, if that's legit, you can't go forward. So what is Brian Coogler but a related X-Files with a Mulder-like character whose name is Mulder, who happens to be played by the same actor? What do we even make of it?
It's just another would-be cash grab.
And guys, we're doing this on purpose. We're not talking about SupahGirl because we talked about it twice 2 weeks ago. The movie dropped and did exactly what we said. There's nothing really left to be said. While I guess people are here, but before we wrap up, it would seem, I guess, obligatory because it's just happening now. Everybody is injecting a ton of MSG into SupahGirl to try to extend it. This thing is now nothing but the world's cheapest hot dog. If this is hot dogs, it comes in a package from a store that says hot dog on it, doesn't it? And you drink it with a can of beer that says beer on it. I mean, this is generic as hell.
To a point, I did get a chance to watch it. The script seems like it is more suited for a Lobo movie than as having SupahGirl in it at all.
So if I go out to see, I can see it now?
Yeah, you can see it.
All right, Jeremy and I will react to the movie for you on Thursday and tell you what we think. But it's really this is what I'm going to say. You tell me if I'm right. One, it's a non-event.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to be forgotten by this time next month.
Is there going to be a moment where Jerm gets up on the literal Superman soapbox and defends this movie as being valid from a certain point of view? Or do they go with such a weird and unpopular outlier version of Supergirl as they did with Superman? But is this one so different, so weird, it's so unpopular and so obscure that no one's going to like this one? They're going to want to forget her.
This one is infinitely more obscure than the version they did for Superman. This was based off of what I originally thought was 2012 is actually 2022 comic run by Tom King.
A wild like 1 or 2 or 5 issue arc of what if shit, right?
So essentially, yeah.
Maybe a half a year worth of what if garbage.
Close to that. I believe it's a 5 issue run, so that
All
would have
right.
been like 5
So
months.
I nailed it. All right. So it's a 5-issue What If. And in 2010, we're talking super low quality Marvel comics. The comics went out first, right? This is like, it's DC Comics. This is going on at the same time that Superman is a prisoner being violated sexually.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is contemporaneous to that story. This is that DC that he's taking it from. So modern DC. Unwanted. Yeah. What do we call this? The Plastic Age? You watched Morbius today? How was it? It looked terrible. Jared Leto can't act.
Morbius is actually pretty fun. It deserved to do a lot better than it did.
Really? Was the blue blood and trying to have it both ways and not going too crazy with how he acted one of the stupid things that killed it? Little too much dumb.
It was highlighting it in the trailer. If it wasn't plastered all over the trailer, people would have just gone right past that Morbin timeline. No one would have noticed it if they didn't put it right there, smack dab in the middle of the trailer for everyone to see.
In other words, it was like Luke drinking the titty milk in Last Jedi was like featuring that in your trailer. It's like, no, you don't like, yeah, we're going to do this to our audience, but we don't want to lead with the damaging stuff.
Yeah. I think the biggest problem Morbius had was that no one knows who the hell Morbius is.
I really don't know who he is. He's some kind of weird variant on Spider-Man who's more vampiric.
He is a science-made vampire from primarily Spider-Man's neck of the Marvel universe.
Which means that the natural rival to him would be Blade. Is he a Blade character?
They have interacted. He primarily interacts with Spider-Man. And
really,
unless you were a fan of the later seasons of the 90s animated Spider-Man series, you don't know who the hell he is.
And you don't know Black Cat. I remember that Morbius. Everyone's saying, Gavin Unit has like the most adorable prairie dog, wherever that is. I don't know what it is, but hopefully, like, we can't say the name of the prairie dog malady. We're not allowed to say that, are we?
No, it's best not to.
Yeah, it's best not to mention it. I know what we should do is probably show Sydney Sweeney while we figure out Patton next. That's a whole discussion. Let's not break into that can of worms too deeply. Then we have the Cage. This is non-binding. Let's spend 5 minutes on this and think about it. Going into this, I'm willing to change my mind, but my default is that this is not a Star Trek story. It's Proto Trek. It's got the DNA. They're going there, but it's not close enough yet. It's not close enough by a damn sight. It's really pulls up real short of being Star Trek and real short of being a good story. It's got super interesting aliens and wild tech that people never saw before. That's what it's got.
Yeah, it's
got
good
more in common with Forbidden. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go first.
It's good in its own right, but it did need those revisions to get a series made out of it. I'd say you're right. It's not really Star Trek, but the events that they show off later in the series is Star Trek.
What, the menagerie?
It happened. Yeah, the menagerie. That stuff happened. Everything that is depicted in the Cage happened, but not in the way you're shown in the Cage. It's just altered a little bit to.
It's whatever Pike remembers. It's how the Telosians are telling us Pike remembers it. Pike is simply wrong about Spock smiling is one way to put it. You could just say that. It's just nothing to contradict you, right? Spock never smiled. The end. The end. Although in the Cage, Spock is absolutely smiling because he's happy because the flowers are singing to him. And if you notice, some of the crewmen have like black eyes and they're all beat up. from, I guess, we're going to watch the mission against the giant monster man who kills like four souls that are charged to Pike's enterprise that has a ridiculous amount of crewmen. What does Pike got? Like 560 men?
Something like that.
Excuse me. I hate when I go to mute myself and I turn off the visual. They should be further apart. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't like their outfits. I'm going to throw a statement at you. You're in a great position to answer this and discuss it a little bit. I believe that the Cage has much more in common with Forbidden Planet than it ever has in common with the rest of Star Trek afterwards.
Yeah. As I said, any inconsistencies you see in the Cage, that's just because that's not exactly what happened. And what you see in Menagerie is Pike's memory of what happened.
We never see Vina again. We never see that actress again, do we?
I don't think so.
Susan Oliver doesn't make it back to Star Trek. I thought she played the chick from A Private Little War, but that's someone else.
I know all those stick figure blondes look alike to me.
They did, but she was not known as a blonde, I don't think, but she's a blonde in Star Trek. Sally Kellerman was sort of different looking for that time. She's in your first real pilot. My feeling is this: you're too far away. You got a shortcut ending with number one overloading the phase pistol to try to get out of trouble. You've got Captain Pike with no personal agency. You've got him trapped in the cage, the menagerie. And at the end, Captain Kirk says stuff like, not only that, you're going to let the freaky ass Birdman go too. Because we see there are other prisoners. And Pike is like, they're like, don't worry about the other prisoners, Captain. They like being here. And he's like, all right, I'll take you at your word. Have they done anything to deserve that?
We could only assume.
The Cage was shown to a bunch of studio executives to prove that Star Trek could work and then thrown into Evolve for 25 years, correct?
That's I believe it was
actually
1990s that it first premiered.
It showed right before the first episode of Next Generation. This was the order of events. We saw a day-long episode of curated best of Star Trek, probably ending with Space Seed. You know what I mean? Ending as strong as you can. Then we saw that because it was the unknown, unseen, unreleased episode, and it debuted in September 1987 after being made in 1962. Correct?
I believe so. I didn't believe it was released until like 1991.
Wasn't released, but it was shown on TV. Released might mean put out on video. It was shown on TV before the first episode of Star Trek. And before and after, we had real Star Trek people like William Shatner and others like making excuses for it and like talking about like, hey, just forget about that now. Here comes this great new show, Star Trek: The Next Generation, with these great new stars that you're going to love. I think Leonard Nimoy hosted most of the day, to be honest with you, and James Doohan.
He might have.
So they put the Cage in like they lock it in a vault for 25 years. They used to do shit called proof of concept. If you want to do a weird Google, do proof of concept Planet of the Apes, where the head scientific ape is Edward G. Robinson, and they're wearing like 3-piece suits and stuff like that. It is so weird, and it's not the Planet of the Apes we got, but it was a proof of concept. And I saw the executive who made it, who later made the movie, who also later made Patton. Planet of the Apes is the movie that team makes before Patton. How versatile are they? Think about that for a second. One after another. You make Planet of the Apes, then you make Patton. Same people. It's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's versatility.
There's nothing in common between the two movies except Jerry Goldsmith's soundtrack. Has a unifying effect, if anything. So
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah. They have a proof of concept for Planet of the Apes that you can see. The apes are walking around in three-piece suits. They're having scientific conversations. They're acting like normal simians. And they're having conversations with Charlton Heston, who's like kind of their prisoner. And like, it's nothing like the movie. He's like wearing khakis and a t-shirt. And he's just like, you don't understand. I'm from a place called Earth. And they're like, we don't understand you, human, and like, the whole thing is a little bizarre, and one of the apes is wearing like a lab coat. But like after we see this, we see like the executive who makes Patton, the director. He's like, okay. When we watched it, there were a lot of shortcomings and things we wanted to change, but what we noticed was it wasn't laughable. You could have this situation occur. We wanted to work on a lot of stuff. It wasn't ready to go. But this wasn't a laughable idea, and that's when we knew to move forward. And that's what a proof of concept was. They used to do them all the time. They don't do them anymore. They greenlight movies off a focus group of a trailer.
Yeah, and look where that's got them.
The Cage is what's called the proof of concept. It's an almost complete story. Think of how convenient the end is. Yes, she pushed that button, so now you have to let us go. That's literally the end of The Cage, right? Number one pushes a button on the phaser and let us go or else, correct? You can't run away fast enough. The end of The Cage is a shortcut.
Hey.
It's the story ending, right?
Pretty much. They overload a phaser.
Look who's here. Welshie, our friend, Dutton Ranch. Real Americans would watch Justified. I've been getting a lot of pressure to watch Justified. Was this one of your shows?
Yeah, Gorilla and I reviewed it maybe 3 years ago. It's a very good show.
I heard PvP didn't find anything enjoyable about it. That encourages me to want to watch it. Is it true that he didn't like it that much?
I wouldn't know. We did this before we even met him.
Okay, all right. Yeah, if PvP liked the show, like his taste in movies tends to it's a little Megan's Law-ish, shall we say? I don't want to watch any movie that he thought was good. He's one of the reasons I really never want to watch Lost in Space. Have you ever heard his commentary on that?
Yeah, it's similar to some of his comments about the Waltons, which is
his commentary on the Waltons was some of the worst commentary ever. Does he do that show anymore? We're not trying to talk. I guess we're talking bad. Sorry, but does he do that show anymore? I think he's not on YouTube anymore, right?
No, he's on the Waltons and a few other places.
Has there been like an intervention where he's like does not talk about grandma and grandpa anymore, or is it still nuts?
Unfortunately, that is still a thing. Not mainly from him, but we have some people in the comments that like to make comments about grandma, grandpa, and a red oak.
All right, that's at least it's the people in the comments. That's funny enough. The channel has its own lore. People want to talk about grandma and grandpa getting it on. Isn't grandpa dead at this point? I mean, Pa's got to be dead by this point. You're in like the last season and a half.
Season 6, and this is the last one with grandpa because he has a heart attack in between 6 and 7.
The actor and the character. They killed the character.
Will Gear died in between season 6 and 7.
Was it from cocaine? Right, it was cocaine.
I'm not entirely sure, but there's so many things that could kill a gay communist in the 70s.
Please tell us how you feel about the actor who plays Grandpa Walton, please.
I'm not lying. He is very open about being a gay communist.
There's nothing wrong with either one. America has a place for both. We're required to say that. However, these things come with some social stigma and germ. Just like you don't care if anybody's gay. You just as long as they don't want to get with you. But the communism thing just sort of annoys the shit out of you. Why don't you talk a little bit about how you feel when you watch him playing lazy grandpa who never does any work on the Waltons? How's that feel?
Well, he was a good actor the whole communist part that's unforgivable. Between all the things, the communism thing is the unforgivable part.
He shouldn't have been allowed to work again. You know what? We got the Dutton Ranch and we got the Walton Collective, right? With Comrade John Boy and Comrade Grandpa, who never do any fucking work. They never do any work.
Yeah, especially John Boy, who is off the series by season 6.
But he spends the first 6 years avoiding work. It's like this is literally, guys, if you're not from America, we had a show called The Waltons. Rant time. Admiral Teags feeling a little ranty. Back in the 70s, we had a show called The Waltons. And this was, Jerm, would you say this was what they called like wholesome family entertainment, The Waltons, pretty much?
Yeah, very, very wholesome. Very saccharine almost.
Yeah, honestly, it was so wholesome that it might be accused of being a little safe, like safe to the point of like there are outright boring episodes. It develops a charm. It's anything but Happy Days, which is the show it's kind of like, on at the same time as, not up against, but at the same time on TV, you can find a show like Happy Days where it's people of the same age as far as the age of the characters, a lot of them, in a different era, only about 15 years later, where they're just living like a much better life and having a lot more fun. But like, this is an episode of The Waltons. These fucking guys, the pejorative term is, what is a pejorative term for people who live on mountains and some of their first names are William? What is that called, Jerm? I can't remember.
Hillbilly.
That's the one. Yeah. I'm so the pejorative term is hillbillies. These like hillbillies live on this mountain, and the mountain is in West Virginia. There are 50 states, and there's one thing that you can always stick the landing on this one. You ready, Germ? You're on Jeopardy. You've just got U.S. states for 1,000. I'm Alex. You ready? Bing! Could you ask the question in the answer in the form of a question and ask me for U.S. states for 1,000? Go ahead. Bing!
Yeah, U.S. states for 1,000.
This is the poorest state of all 50.
Right now,
No.
What is Mississippi?
Oh, is it right now? Is it Mississippi?
Yeah, it's Mississippi right now.
Oh, it's, you know what? Don't you think West Virginia will fight its way back to number 50? Because it's like, out of 200 years of America, like one of the original states, it breaks off after the Civil War. It's part of Virginia, but West Virginia has basically been our poorest state on the eastern seaboard, which it kind of isn't, but it's basically been our poorest state out of 50 for about 100 years, give or take, right? Most of those 100 years.
Yeah, it's always been up there near the top spot.
And like the Waltons takes place mostly during the time of financial downturn in America, in the poorest state. And every episode starts with like a helicopter shot as we move in on the mountain. It's Appalachia, as we call it. And the one thing I will say, it's kind of beautiful, right? Walton Mountain's kind of beautiful. The mountain range it's on is kind of beautiful. The area is kind of beautiful. It's not drop dead gorgeous, but it's nice to look. It's nice looking, isn't it? It's
very nice looking for the Sierra Nevada mountains,
which is what it really is. Yes, yeah. It's a good, but they do a better job. It doesn't look like California. They make it look like East Coast mountains, don't they? They work pretty hard at that.
Yeah, it looks very close to Southern Virginia where it's supposed to be.
Except for when they're standing in the tall sawgrass that's only out west. But yes, they do a very good job of swapping it in. But like the average episode, like helicopter shot in, and we get like, sorry guys, I was so angry I actually hit my microphone. It was hard times on Walton Mountain, and Grandpa wanted us to understand that, and we knew that rent was due on the farm or we'd be foreclosed on. Things were hard for Pa. And we see Pa and Jim Bob like chopping down trees and trying to fix the tractor and dragging stuff to market and trying to like drag some kind of fucking crop out of the ground. And and Mary Ellen and the other ones like trying to milking some goddamn goat. Every single fucking thing you can do to try to like wring a dime out of this worthless soil, correct?
Yeah, the first few years where they're into depression is pretty much anything they can do, they do.
Except Jimbo, except for John Boy and Grandpa.
Yeah, the Grandpa
doesn't match the show.
Grandpa likes to drink and sit around, and all John Boy does is right.
John Boy sits there and talks to Grandpa, who's wasted, and writes down his crazy commie ideas or whatever the fuck whatever drunk ass Grandpa's spouting off about, right? Because Grandpa's like, I ain't done a lick of work since 1870. And it's like, but Grandpa, it's 1930 now. Like, when did you work? It's like, fuck you. I never work. Leave me alone. Isn't that actor just a mess for a guy who was only like 58? He worked hard to look terrible, didn't he?
Oh, no, he was,
was he
at least 71.
You've got to be kidding me.
Yeah, Will Gear was pretty old by the time they did that.
It's not that old, though. Like, you're supposed to be able to expect to live to 80 in 1977 when this guy drops dead. Like, aside from being gay and a communist, wasn't he filling himself up with booze and being an asshole? Like, that was what also his other hobbies?
I can only imagine.
Every episode of the Waltons starts with a good theme song, a good montage. Then we helicopter in on the mountain. The mountain's beautiful, and we hear the voiceover. It's future John Boy, so we know John Boy's going to be all right. We see Pa and James Robert trying to drag a dime's worth of fucking sustenance out of this worthless soil. Ma and everyone else doing what they can, stitching, straightening, milking freaking goats, whatever, chickens. Grandma's in there working too. She's 5,000 fucking years old. She's got a picture of her with Jesus. She's so old. She's like I can't stand Grandma. How about you? Who do you hate the most on the Waltons? Is it Mary Ellen or Grandma? It's John. It's John Boy, right? Erin. Yeah, Erin.
Most annoying because she is
That's the kid.
That is the second oldest daughter.
Oh, is it? I thought it was the youngest.
I'd say she is most annoying because she blue balls a guy to the point where he joins the army. She gets put in his will, and she still doesn't sleep with him.
What a bitch. All right, so yeah, that character's just a bitch. All right, so yeah, Tales of Privation, Life is Terrible, We Live on Walton's Mountain. By the way, John Boy and Grandpa are going to do no work all day. It's been a great hangout, and this rant brought to you by RRTNZ. It was great to extend it a little bit and be a little crazy. You know what? Let's see. Worst Grandpa since Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Germ, do you admire that grandfather's work, Dodge?
Hey, it's a great dodge. Just sit around in bed all day and say, hey, I gotta go to the most exclusive place on earth. Let's go. And he just pops right back up.
I bet. Would this be Steven Spielberg? Likes Timothy Oliphant?
I don't know where Steven Spielberg gets into the mix there.
I don't know. Can you guess who it would be? Yes, this is true. John Boy Walton is also Shad from Beyond the Battle of the Stars.
Yeah, that was a great career move on his part.
I will say this is what the truest comment of the night. The show just isn't the same without Germ. And, people are really missing out on the Teague Germ energy. I guess hopefully they'll get it on Thursday, right? You'll be done robbing that bank and washing the blood off the money by Thursday.
Yeah, it should be all laundered by then.
I think the funniest thing you ever did was when you kidnapped that pizza guy and put the kaboom boom around his neck and told him to go rob the bank.
Yeah, that would have worked too, but the guy panicked.
Is it really true that was it a dare or was it because he owed you money?
Hey, you had
Card
to pay
game
me back
gone wrong
somehow.
was the story I heard.
Hey, you don't cheat me out of that much money, and you got to do something.
You know, it happened in what 1999. It's not too soon. Beltway sniper jokes coming up next, right? That's safe too. There was just
Exactly.
all right, Sydney, sweetie, you silly guys. You know what? There she is. I don't know what the career move is on her. I guess our Sydney Sweeney note of the night is we talked about Spider-Man. There's a new Spider-Man movie coming out. Opportunity missed. She should have been Black Cat, correct? Give him some love interest. All he's going to do is simp for MJ and end up back in her life. It seems like we're going to do 2 movies worth of what could be painful to Spider-Man in one. Why not have Black Cat come out there and distract him for 2 movies and even die like a meaningful sacrifice death? Like, there's a movie arc for you. What do you think of that idea? Instead, he
Hey,
just
we
shows
still
up
got
and
the
simps his way
possibility.
back in to Zendaya's life.
We still haven't seen Black Cat in live action, so possibilities are endless.
The possibilities are endless. Let's talk for 1 minute on what we're doing on Thursday. We're going to have this week's movies, and I guess by that time we'll both have at least a reaction to SupahGirl. I keep getting tell I on days where I don't review movies, sometimes I have to stare at the wall. I fell asleep between Lance's show and this one today. I was just out cold. I have to
Yeah,
watch.
that happens when you're bouncing between time zones.
Yeah, right. Trying to do shows that are in England and being American based. What can you do? You know what though? It's a great opportunity to be on with people. So reach out and get the message across to others. So what are you gonna do? You know, that's life here on Earth. Um, for now, we'll be back on Thursday with more news, developments, hot takes, crazy stuff, and whatever happens. I missed Germ's movie. How'd the movie go? Same ending as usual? Did they change the ending?
For which movie?
Godzilla? Didn't you watch
No,
Godzilla
we
Monday?
did Resurgence.
Oh, that's right. The ID4 Resurgence. You know what? We have 5 minutes for this one. I watched Independence Day Resurgence. I don't even know if it's a story of missed opportunities as just like absolutely not even aiming at the target. What the hell? There was just a few things in that movie that made almost enough sense to say that there was a logical case for some of the big framing of the movie. And then the rest of the movie is just totally bad shit with no real connection to ID1. And guys, a couple of comments on the comment chain would really help us. We'd love that. Spam some emojis if you could.
It is a very rushed movie. They didn't know where they wanted to go for most of it. They just wanted to end it with the possibility of extending the franchise. They
Yeah,
had so
Raleigh
many hopes
wanted to
going
sell it to
into it.
someone else for sure. Raleigh was looking to sell this franchise off to someone else. And maybe, quite honestly, if Raleigh hadn't have been involved in this, they might have had a good movie. Everything's wrong.
Possible. They had such hopes going into this. They thought they could get a couple more movies or even a TV series, a shared
Streaming,
universe.
something.
They had,
yeah.
yeah,
The moon
they had,
base looked like the setup for the shared universe, didn't it?
they had so many ideas that they thought that they could just sell out to anybody for astronomical prices, and then the movie completely tanks and they can't do any of it.
One of the movies, one of the reasons a movie completely tanks is because it's too many ideas at once crammed into the movie as a launching pad of a show, the finishing point of a movie, hopefully sending us on to another movie, showing Earth 25 years after the alien attack. The most interesting thing they did was show us future Earth, right? Like with the integration of our captured alien tech into our tech. That was kind of cool. They had something there.
Yeah, some of the parts were good.
The moon base part was good, except it didn't make sense.
They had a helicopter-looking thing that was hideous.
I like that.
But all the other tech looked okay.
We had repeats of lines in the first movie when they go to the moon base. What did they say? They can be no peace. It's like the line from the first movie. In this movie, the Russell Case role is played by Bill Pullman. He's the crazy person who's been kidnapped by aliens because they got inside his brain in the first movie, which is about the only thing that makes sense. And if it wasn't for Picard season 2, I would call the or Picard season 1, I would call this a career low performance for Brett Spiner. What do you think, Jerp?
No, he's done some pretty bad stuff.
This was worse than Out to Sea.
And that he sung in Out to Sea.
He sang well, though. Black Cat would be perfect for it, especially with the white hair. Chemistry between her and Tom Holland is palpable. Imagine seeing a superhero like her. He would be torn. Yeah. Like, how about like having to choose between MJ and Black Cat, or if like at the end of the movie, like he's madly in love with Black Cat, trying to forget about MJ, and he just can't do it, or Black Cat dies. Noble sacrifice, turning away from, because Black Cat's essentially a criminal who sometimes does good things, right? She's a cat burglar.
Yeah, she's essentially Marvel's version of Catwoman.
She is. She's a gray area character who will go back and forth, and she is just not. They're not trying to disguise it too hard because Catwoman's underdeveloped enough that they can have a Black Cat character that does not have much functional difference from Catwoman at all, does she? She really doesn't.
Yeah, it's to the point where it's one of the. It was kind of like the Deadpool and Deathstroke thing they had. They almost got into some legal battles at times about certain characters.
People from the actual front office had to go into the legal office with bats and sap down the lawyers to keep them from going after each other needlessly while they figured out another way. Black Cat is Marvel Catwoman, you're for sure. We could do a 3-movie arc with that. Like the plan is to continue with this Spider-Man. He would be close to 40 and time for us to cash in the chips when we get him back to MJ 3 movies from now. Anyway, he's not the movies. I don't know if they're doing well, but Uncharted, isn't that character supposed to be like a 50-year-old seasoned adventurer? They throw him into it. I don't get it.
I have no idea. I never really
Seemed like
played
it
the
worked,
Uncharted
right?
games.
Right, but the movies did all right, right? Like for some reason doesn't fail.
It did
Again,
okay.
the game's could have carried over. Resurgence has the aliens come back. Their ship is 50 times bigger. It covers most of the Earth. That's preposterous. Is it the moon or the Earth that the ship covers most of?
It covers most of one face of the Earth. It's supposed to be only 3,000 miles in diameter. So
Yeah,
they keep
don't know what
saying
the
it's
hell.
just from London to Washington, D.C. that
Scale
the
doesn't
ship
match,
is
though.
covering. Yeah, the scale of the ship that they show is like 3 times bigger than that.
It's got like serpentine arms reaching all the way around to the back, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that part. It's just like
Also,
a huge rock they placed on the globe.
also not helping this movie is out at the same time as Moonfall, which is a recent memory to people. And it's what is it? Roland Emmerich goes Moonfall, then this, or is it this, then Moonfall? It's terrible for poor Roland Emmerich. I truly believe that the real world overtook his fantasy. What do you think?
Yeah, it was really a great time for Roland Emmerich.
It wasn't dramatic to see movies about that scale of disaster anymore after seeing it in real life, unfortunately, which is one of the big problems with Man of Steel. It both underwhelms and offends at the same time, right?
Yeah, this movie came out around the same time as Batman v Superman. And
where they're trying to correct Man of Steel. that part of Man of Steel is the whole beginning of BVS, where they're trying to make it look like they didn't fuck it up as bad as they did. That whole beginning of that movie is damage control on the movie before. Always proof that the Snyderverse guys, like, I know Supergirl didn't work out, but let's I want to take a moment to talk to the Snyder Bros. Give it up. He was terrible too.
Yeah, I don't know why people want Snyder back.
He couldn't tell a coherent story. The characters looked epically cool. Didn't they add it up for the final Justice League movie? It was 20 minutes of walking up and down stairs and another 10 minutes of simply walking. So a half an hour of the movie had no dialogue and people walking, of this 3 hour, 45-minute abomination, which is still better than the Whedon cut, I hear.
It is infinitely better than the Whedon cut.
Really? Whedon cut's pretty bad.
Yeah, the Whedon cut, half of the CGI doesn't seem to be finished, but
right. The other thing about the Whedon cut is this: people don't remember parts of it that are specific to the Whedon cut and tend to grandfather them over to the Snyder cut. So the things that are in the Whedon cut that are good get credited to the Snyder cut falsely. Have you noticed that? It's like it's pretty hard to keep them straight. Most people think every good thing was in the Snyder cut. They tend to forget stuff like yelling, screaming Lobo.
There wasn't anything really good in the Whedon cut.
What was the point of having Aquaman in this DC movie so close to the point in time where he was Aquaman? With SupahGirl.
He should have been Lobo from the start.
Headcase might be right on this comment. He probably should have been Lobo from the start, but these characters all are terrible. They're third-rate villains who look terrible. If they were good villains in the comics, they look very third-rate now with the weird like dots on their skin. It looks like they just didn't finish the mocap on them. They're running around looking like a medieval army again. It's tiresome. The aesthetic isn't that different from the Snyderverse aesthetic for the bad guy look. There's a lot wrong with the look of the Supergirl movie. People complaining about all the different aspects of it. It's to focus on it that much. I don't know if it's worth it. I think the real story of the Supergirl movie is, what are we, about a year out from when they have to disclose what it really cost, and then we talk about it? Because right now it's just a terrible movie that no one wants any part of. The review I heard, you saw it, you can tell us, a mediocre movie that should never have been called Supergirl, that might have gone under the radar as if it hadn't been. It's a terrible Supergirl movie, but it's like, it's a sci-fi movie.
It's not. Supergirl doesn't act like the canonical Supergirl at any point. It's very accurate to the Tom Kane.
She acts like, I was gonna say, she acts like canonical outlier, weird one-off Supergirl a lot, right?
Yeah, she acts very much like the way Tom Kane imagined her, which was not very good.
Okay, yeah.
This movie is essentially True Grit, but
wait, True Grit, really? The Western?
Yeah, it's Vengeance. Wow. It would be a great Lobo movie.
Why is it just okay for chicks? It's considered an unacceptable motivation for male heroes.
I have no idea, but this would be a great movie if you just completely tore out Supergirl and put Lobo in her place. You can just take those shitty flashback scenes, which I don't believe were even in English. I wasn't really paying attention by that point.
Kryptonian?
Yeah, they're in Kryptonian. With at least where I saw them, the subtitles weren't very good.
Do they correct Space Pimp Jor-El in this one, or do they leave that alone? Because that's going to be changed. James Gunn said he's going to fix it.
I have no idea. I couldn't read the damn subtitles.
It could have been in there somewhere. You didn't even care. Okay, go ahead. That shows how compelling this movie. And they chop 35 minutes out of it to get it down to 2 full fucking hours still.
Yeah, it is way too long.
It's a bloated mess.
At times, I would completely rip out Supergirl, put Lobo in her spot, but the flashbacks for Lobo would have been great. Just flashback to him being a over the top, rambunctious teen doing very, very inappropriate shit, and where she's leaving the city for whatever reason it was. I think they're being poisoned or something. That again, it was all subtitled, so I couldn't freaking read it, and I'm not gonna freaking read
I'm going to guess
subtitles
it wasn't
in a movie.
subtitled well. If you couldn't read it,
It was
part of it that
green,
was. Oh,
and it had bad font to it.
are you
Bad
so? In
color
other
to it.
words, like style over substance, even in the telling of their story with the on-screen text, they didn't give a shit if you could read it.
Yeah, they really didn't care if you're able to read along with it. If
I'm
they cared,
surprised
they
it
would've
wasn't written in Sharpie, by the way. Like, I'm surprised
Yeah.
it wasn't meant to look like it was written in Sharpie. What a
It's supposed to be some
disaster.
type of Kryptonian font. It looked like crap, and I didn't bother reading most of it, and it's flashing around too fast for me to even try to keep up.
Was that maybe on purpose because it was so stupid, you think?
Very
Was it so
possible.
stupid that they had to just like, oh my God. Was the meeting where they saw the 3-hour version of this movie where James Gunn's all full of himself and telling them what a masterpiece he made? Is that where they're like, oh my God, right? Like everyone's hair catches fire?
It's possible.
How heavily featured is the music of Blondie?
Not very.
Deborah Harry looked disengaged, bored, and wanting to leave when James Gunn forced her to meet him at the premiere. So did the guitar player from Blondie, who she's worked with as her co-songwriter forever. She's happy to make the money. She'll show up at the appearance. She's not going to embarrass you. She smiled. She looked like she was bored as hell, though. It's not Deborah Harry's kind of party. Even at 80, Deborah Harry doesn't want to be there. The last person Deborah Harry would ever want to hang out with, I think, is James Gunn.
Yeah, that's probably true.
He probably apologized to her for being so sexy when she was young. So sorry that you had to live with that, Debbie. All right. So I'll check that movie out. We'll be back on Thursday. We're back. We're going to try to do Tuesdays and Thursdays on a more regular basis now. Life still comes up, and keeping the roof over our heads still the most important. We're protecting the flagship. Saturday night Star Trek, the way to go. Be there. Quite important. Jerem, what's going on your channel?
We'll be back to monster movies on Monday.
All right. So here we go with the moment of drama as we get ready to leave. As someone gets remonetized, I do say a heartfelt congratulations to that channel. But I also would say, if you don't think part of your problem was that the sub churning on Saturday nights was about to kill both channels, and that what you did wasn't extremely damaging to the niche during the time that you were just waiting out remonetization. Was it J-Man who's been demonetized 3 times and simply just fixed stuff and went back to being monetized without throwing a 10-week, 200-hour month tantrum?
That sounds right.
I'm going to just say something. You don't have to agree. I don't agree with the methods by which they did this. I think it endangered the rest of the niche, and I think it was fucking selfish.
It's good a theory as any.
It didn't take anyone else into consideration. I think we all were under a lot more scrutiny while An Open Rebellion went on. But, hey, that's just me. Like, maybe we should all fix our own problems and not make it into like a platform-wide call-out where everybody has to choose sides, and calling people out and calling people sellouts and other crazy shit like that maybe shouldn't happen. Like, maybe you should just, if you can't do your show on a certain platform, go somewhere else, right? Crazy idea?
Yeah, good a theory as any.
Anyway, we love you all. Wow, Star Trek Enterprise at the end, the Patton this week, the Cage in 2 weeks. Then I guess we're gonna stick with chronological. So that means, does that mean we do? If we really did chronological, all good things would have to go first because they bracket back further than the furthest beginning. So like we're going in order it was shown is the way to put it, right? Series order, is that the proper term? Is it called series order?
Yes.
We're going in series order. So we should see some interesting mistakes and contradictions because we know that there's a lot of out of order episodes. It should be a lot of fun. What I'm looking forward to is all that great work we did in Enterprise Season 3, where we didn't really get into that one, but hey, we've been on long enough, so we'll save that one for Thursday. Enterprise Season 3, rather 4, where they spend a lot of time thinking about Star Trek TOS Season 3, and they have like Tholian Web and other stuff like that worked into the episodes. They really thought a lot about Season 3. So being the first show to go into, at least in this niche, I'm sure someone else did it, the first show to go into regular Star Trek reviews after doing Enterprise, how many other shows did 108 reviews before they hit the man trap, huh?
Not too many.
It's going to be interesting. We should have our game together. Guys, be there for Star Trek, the Enterprise journey. Wow. Interesting. Interesting. It was a long road. Then we'll have the rest of the box office disaster. Is this eighth wave, before we go, eighth wave feminism, or is it me with the ironing board dress that doesn't let you see that she has a nice body? What the hell is with this thing? It's blocker.
I have no idea.
It does the opposite of what a dress is supposed to do, right? It blocks the view of her figure.
She looks okay. Her face maybe not so much, but the rest of her is fine.
Her face only looks really terrible in a few pictures. Most of the time, it just looks like she's rather unique and a little odd looking with popsicle teeth. Does that mean to say? It sound about right?
About right. Her face is a bit flat. If you look at her from the side, it's not very flattering.
It sometimes looks like mom drank a lot of booze while she was pregnant.
Yeah.
She also saw. Is it me? We'll leave off with this. Is it me, or does she sometimes look like fucking Nagilum from Star Trek: The Next Generation?
That's just how Ozzy
she doesn't look. She looks like Nagilum, though, doesn't she? She specifically looks a lot like Nagilum.
As I said, that's how Aussies look.
Please don't go after an entire continent. We have fans there. We love you, Australians. We really do. We love you. All right. So I guess that means that we got to find an appropriate outro for the show. Let's see. I think our audience has been through enough to see Sydney Sweeney. What do you think?
It's always good to see Sydney.
It probably is always good to see Sydney. I do a little thing I like to do called bumper carts before I go. I play a couple of pieces of the edited video that you guys helped us take care of this month with your generous contributions, covered that licensing fee in what was one of the most difficult months to survive in all of YouTube history. I am so glad that this 10 weeks of just having to hear about it all the time is over. You think we'll go back to normal now? Watch people who are monetized suddenly go back to being cool. That's my prediction. You're suddenly going to be hearing that from a certain other show. What do you think?
That would certainly be a good change of pace.
Wouldn't it be great if they didn't do sub churn by showing up while we were on all night on Saturday and maybe did that on YouTube and turned that into an edited upload that YouTube would love, of the best of their genius takes?
Yeah,
all that noise. You know what? I'm not saying don't do your show, but do you have to come on doing something so close to what we're doing and doing the sub churn was about to destroy both shows. Like there was a need to reconsider Star Trek. The fact that show wasn't monetized was being used to make it more of a pain in the ass.
The word decent doesn't apply to me.
Because I'm just going to tell you the fucking truth.
Kirk here.
Spock here, Captain.
All right.
That was so controversial. Sir.
Sir. We love you all. Maybe don't counter stream your own niche if you do YouTube. Bye, guys.